Storms anytime, but especially during the afternoon. 80 for the high. Wednesday night, the showers and storms should end by 10 o'clock. Thursday, all is quiet. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Now, your Live Nation lineup. Don't miss these upcoming shows. Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on August 19th. Guns N' Roses at Busch Stadium on September 9th. Aerosmith will be at the Enterprise Center on October 26th. Metallica at the Dome at America Center for 2 dates, November 3rd and November 5th. For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
The Diamond Shop, online at thediamondshop.net, has a summer clearance happening right now, and you do not want to miss this amazing opportunity to get yourself something beautiful and sparkling to maybe mark a special moment. Or if you were thinking about 139 days from now, Christmas, maybe you can go to the Diamond Shop in Clayton and shop their 70% off, up to 70% off select items through August 19th in their summer clearance sale. It's at thediamondshop.net if you want to learn a little bit more about this sale specifically. But they're located in Clayton. They've been around St. Louis since 1910, which is pretty impressive. And they've been serving generation after generation with really fantastic products and the best customer service in the jewelry game in St. Louis. 6 months, same as cash financing. So if you find that thing that you're looking for, 70% off on a summer clearance sale, maybe something even nicer than you expected to purchase, it's there at the Diamond Shop right now, waiting for you to visit. Tell them Annie Fry Show said hello when you stop by. Find them online at thediamondshop.net.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Loaner Tool Program has more than 80 specialty loaner tools available to help you with your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Together Credit Union is the official banking partner of St. Louis City SC, which means Together Credit Union is the only place to find the official City SC debit card, which comes with special perks. There's no cost for the City SC debit card, so don't wait and sign up today online at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
This hour of the Annie Fry Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It is so unusual, but we've been saying that for years, right? And we've said that there's never been an indictment of a former president before. We're way past that now. 3, probably, potentially number 4 coming out of Georgia. That's a possibility. And there are doubts on both sides of the aisle that President Biden is actually going to be the nominee for the Democrats. I think there is a whole lot to play out in the next 16 months or so. It's going to be a wild ride.
Shannon Bream saying what I think we're all thinking. The Biden v. Trump, those two leaders of the Republican and Democrat parties right now, is that the way that this is going to shape up once we get to the actual election, which takes place in 455 days? Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Happy Tuesday. We have a YouTube live chat poll today that I really would love to, I'd love every day, of course, to hear what you think about this. But I'm curious on your comments about today's YouTube poll as much as any other day. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? Is it a benefit? Is it a loss? Or there's no effect whatsoever? As we're talking about the YouTube live chat poll, the president, Biden, is in Arizona, I believe, and he's about to make a pitch to sell Bidenomics to the people of Arizona, an important state for the 2024 election, no less. And we're gonna watch as these two leaders, the front runners, we should say, of their respective parties, continue their march towards the 2024 election. Is it going to be them? I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that Joe Biden is going to be the eventual nominee of the Democratic Party. And if he is the nominee, I don't think he makes it to Election Day for whatever particular reason. There are an array of reasons why that might not be the case. But Donald Trump, I have said that I didn't think he was going to be the nominee either over the course of time. But the closer we get to this election, we're still many days away. I am not seeing anything right now. He's almost catapulted himself into what appears to be entry-level martyrdom that I don't know what is going to stop his level of popularity that will be needed in a crowded field of candidates for the Republican nomination for the presidency of the United States. Now, I'll support Donald Trump if he wins the nomination. I haven't decided 100% who I'm voting for in the primary once it comes to Illinois. And the Illinois primary has been moved up a little bit this year compared to previous years. Usually by the time it gets to Illinois, most of it is decided already. It's a formality. And I still like to go vote. It still makes me feel good about it. I'm not opposed to Donald Trump. I do love what Ron DeSantis has done in Florida, and I love the way he's been bold in the way that he has pursued it. I think he stands for things that are American, not Republican, and I would love to see him be the president. Today we found out that Ron DeSantis has named a new campaign manager. Florida Governor, this is from Fox News, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis replaces campaign manager Janera Peck with a trusted political advisor who has worked with him for years but has little campaign experience. DeSantis handed over the role to James Uthmeyer, hope I'm saying that right, on Tuesday, pulling the staffer up from his original position as chief of staff to DeSantis's gubernatorial race, or office, I should say. The change, confirmed by Fox News Digital, is the latest in a week-long reload of the DeSantis campaign amid disappointing poll numbers in the 2024 GOP primary race. Going back to today's YouTube live chat poll question, which you can go vote at Annie Fry, F-R-E-Y, on YouTube. In the live chat portion, you can just click your vote. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? A benefit, loss, or no effect? I really do believe that everything that happens on the Republican side of the 2024 election is downstream from Trump. I don't know that there's anything that Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy or Tim Scott or Mike Pence or Chris Christie, I don't think that there's anything that they can do to supersede Donald Trump's popularity in this race without some sort of initial action by Donald Trump shedding the support that he has already, which is where this poll question comes in. Brad, when you have seen, you've been able to cover these now we've had 3 Trump indictments, and you've been covering them. The first one was pretty like, wow, this is really happening.
Yeah.
We're getting better at covering them.
Yeah. I kind of feel like Forrest Gump meeting the President of the United States. It's like, so I went to the White House again, and I met the President of the United States again. That's kind of how I feel about this third indictment. That's how I'm going to feel about the fourth one. I'm so over it. I'm done with it. Like, it doesn't move the needle with me emotionally either direction. I don't dislike Trump anymore. I don't like Trump anymore because of it. It just doesn't really have an effect on me at this point.
So, third indictment, fourth indictment, fifth indictment, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th indictment, you are saying no effect, or just at this current time?
At this current time. I think if you start hitting like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, you start hitting those numbers, like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but then what?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. I'm done with it. If you guys hate him that much, there's something that he's doing that makes me maybe want to give you a little more dose of the Trump medicine.
So you become more pro-Trump?
Would become more pro-Trump because I think it becomes more obvious that it is nothing more than political. Right now, it's political, but I don't think that everybody realizes it's political.
But for you personally as a voter, as somebody who is, you've said that you really like Ron DeSantis.
I like Ron DeSantis. I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I like Tim Scott. I like Donald Trump. I like a lot of these candidates. I don't really know that there's too many bad candidates on the Republican
But
side.
Trump is not your number one choice.
He is not. No, he's number 3.
And you would support him should he win the nomination?
1,000%.
No problem with that.
No problem with that.
Is there an element of these indictments, should they continue to pile up, where he becomes your first choice?
I would say it would probably be like 6 or 7 indictments in.
Put it on the board. That would be a good poll question.
Yeah.
How many indictments would it take for you to make Trump your first choice? I'm already there.
Yeah.
3 to 4, 6 to 7,
10 or more.
I think. Yeah, at some point we're just going to have a number plus. I think that people have to consider this. I think that the Democrats have to consider this. I think there's so many pieces that are in play when it comes to the effect that these indictments have, because everything Trump, support for Donald Trump, as I said, the Republican primary is downstream from Trump. It's his to lose. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all that when the rubber meets the road, that Donald Trump does put himself in a position to lose it. The irony of this is in my opinion, where he has, he's had pretty much a steady level of just above 50% in the national polls, which are pretty much useless, but a general temperature taking of where voters are on the issue as a whole. It doesn't really mean anything when it comes to me down to what's he going to do in Arizona, what's he going to do in Wisconsin and Georgia. He is at 53.7%. DeSantis is at 15.7% nationally. That's the lowest I've seen him be. Trump in Iowa, 44%. Trump in New Hampshire, 41.7%. Biden, nationally, 63%. That's the same. It hasn't moved. Kennedy at 13.6%. That's significantly down. He was at 20%, and that was when Kennedy had 20% of the support of the Democrat Party, and DeSantis had 20% support of the Republican Party. It was like Ron DeSantis only has 20 support, and he's the second guy, and Kennedy, he's got 20% of the support of the Democrat Party with the incumbent presidency. So definitely viewed differently. Same number, viewed differently. Circumstances are a little bit different, but not entirely. Donald Trump sitting at 53.7%, meaning just less than half of the Republican voters are saying, I'd really like to consider something else. Basically, exactly, Brad, what you just said. I'm not anti-Trump, but I'm ready for something else. And the baggage that comes along with Trump, I think we could get the good stuff from Donald Trump with somebody else and leave some of the extra behind with Donald Trump. But the Trump policies that you would be voting on if you're voting for a DeSantis or a Ramaswamy, who's in 6% now in third place, according to national polls. Pence is still in fourth place. Don't really get that. If you're one of those people and you're voting for these folks who understand the America First, essentially MAGA agenda, Trump has that too. He's not spending a whole lot of time. He's not spending the priority of his time conveying that message. That's not the message that he is focusing on sending voters. If his goal we have to remember that the focus of a candidate in a primary is absolutely different than the focus of a candidate in a general election. You don't have to be America's choice in a primary. You have to be Republicans' choice in a primary. And you will strategize how to win that race. You have to win the first one before you can win the second one, which in my opinion is the biggest problem that Ron DeSantis has right now. The biggest issue that Ron DeSantis has right now is he's trying to win the general election and he's not going to get past the primary. If Donald Trump were to focus his efforts, his message on people like you listening to the show right now, and less about himself, even if in a roundabout way it still is coming back to him, the message needs to be on the receiver of the message. It needs to be about the receiver of the words that he's saying, and that's not Donald Trump's way of doing things. I have no expectations for it to change. It's very possible he could win his second term without changing a thing. It's possible, but I do think as much as the Republican primary is downstream from Donald Trump's success is downstream for Biden. If Joe Biden is the nominee, Donald Trump can win.
Mm-hmm.
If Joe Biden is not the nominee, I don't see how Donald Trump can win. And right now, we are in a staring contest of who is going to blink first. If the Biden ship goes down or just decides to dock at the harbor, what Donald Trump does next will be key to the possibility of his any future success. Joe Biden is easily beatable. Put in a Gavin Newsom or somebody else, if they end up having a full-on Democrat primary, then everything changes. And the idea of fresh ideas and fresh blood and excitement that would be injected into the Democratic Party should Joe Biden step down, the enthusiasm there would especially immediately go through the roof for the left.
Mm-hmm.
If Joe Biden gets a graceful exit from his first and potentially likely only term as president, the Democrat Party will enjoy an incredible surge of enthusiasm. And that will not be well answered by the consistent Trump response. The Republican Party will need to look into a fresh approach. That fresh approach could belong to Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting any money on him doing it.
No.
Or Scooter's Coffee. I will put Scooter's Coffee on the Cardinals making the playoffs. 1 cup. 1 Americano decaf coffee to Brad Range.
No, we're getting caffeinated this time.
Oh, you can do that?
I can.
Is that news?
Yeah, that was while you were in Disney. I was like, I'm just going to try it. So I've tried the cold brew. I've tried it with an Americano, and I even tried the nitro.
So Brad's had 3 heart attacks. This is the preface to this story. If you're just joining us for maybe the first time, a 30-second recap of your medical history here on the air.
Yeah, so I've had 3 heart attacks. One when I was 27, one as a result of the first one, as doing the right things for the first one, and the third one is the treatment they gave me for the second one ended up causing the third one. So I've had 3 heart attacks, and after the third heart attack, I found out that if I had like a cup of coffee, it would cause an arrhythmia, and my heart would beat weird. And I don't know if that was just because my heart was weak at the time, so I just stopped. I was like, you know what? It's really easy to just not drink caffeinated coffee, and I just stopped. And that was in 2020 when I had the third one, so I gave it, what are we, 2023 now? 3 years.
Ish.
And my heart has recovered enough that it's not causing any sort of weird arrhythmias.
That's huge news. That's from your doctor?
No, that's from Brad finding it out.
All right. I might still buy you decaf and lie about it. I'm not giving you the coffee that causes you problems. A coffee bet to Brad that the Cardinals would make the playoffs because this girl has heart, and I have to be emotionally involved in something without having to be impossibly practical. On our private chat, Ryan said from his office, and 1 chai because I'm on the bet, and I told him he's a damn liar. He's not in that.
I was wondering what those red circles were.
No, it's totally not even important, and it is fake news. No, you're not on this
I don't
bet.
remember that bet.
You
I remember you betting me.
Absolutely, I bet you. And it's such a Ryan Wiggins thing to do to wait 3 more weeks to see how the season goes to be like, oh, I'm in on that bet too.
Totally.
I'm not buying you coffee. Last time I bought you coffee, you ruined it before you even tasted it. You can get a chai for yourself, though, that day. He just said, I'm in on the bet and I'm winning. Just deal with it. Shush. Man, we should let people see the private chat someday. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Jason Plummer is going to join us. He is the Illinois State Senator for the 54th District. There is a story that you may or may not have heard about. Got to shuffle through all my papers here. This is from the Chicago Sun-Times. The headline is, Citizenship should be required before someone becomes a police officer. You might have heard about this new law that J.B. Pritzker signed into law when, I think it was last week when I was on vacation. I knew that this was coming. I've had conversations with Republicans in the state of Illinois who have supported this. I have had conversations with Republicans who are absolutely against it. Jason Plummer is going to tell us where he sits on this issue when we return. So stick around for that. And at 1:25 today, Andy McCarthy joins us once again, who is a contributing editor at the National Review, a Fox News contributor, to talk to us about these Trump indictments. Go vote on the YouTube live chat poll. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Trying to stop my hands from shaking. Something in my mind's not making sense. It's been a while since we were all alone. Looking at the way I'm feeling.
When Air Comfort Service comes to your home and they provide you the checkup that you've needed on your HVAC system that you've put off, it's okay. Most people do it. You don't even think about your air conditioner or your heating system until it's not working. That's kind of the way these things generally go. And then costly repairs creep up and cost you a lot more than that system check would have been. I want to tell you about their $54 HVAC system check that you can check out right now. For a limited time, Air Comfort Service is offering this $54 HVAC system check. Unlike a lot of heating and cooling companies, Air Comfort Service checks your entire system, not just the AC, because it's summer. That's why they call it a system check. And when you reach out to them at 314-513-0091, that's 314-513-0091, mention the Annie Fry Show and tell them you want access to that $54 service check. And make sure you put off any of those costly repairs that can creep up on you when you didn't have the initial thing checked out ahead of time. It's very much so worth the investment. And Air Comfort Service can be trusted in your home. They've been in my home many times to replace the air conditioner, the furnace, the water heater, and to do an AeroSeal duct sealing. I trust them with my house. You can trust them with yours. Find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. Have questions after being injured in an accident? We'll match you with the Onder Law team that's right for you and your case.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com. Mark Cox here. Give Grill Master Tony a call for all your corporate lunches and catering. He does box lunches, which includes the meat, a couple of sides, a chocolate chip cookie, and even a drink. You can choose from brisket, which is delicious, by the way, hickory smoked prime rib, or turkey French dip, even pulled chicken. Grill Master Tony's Catering. You've got to check this out. He'll deliver it and set it up for you as well. Order online today at grillmastertony.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You found 97.1 FM Talk, where we ask questions, even when the legacy media won't. Especially when the legacy media won't.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
In the state of Illinois still. What we have allowed is legal permanent residents and DACA recipients now to become police officers. But I am tired of the right wing twisting these things. They put it out on Facebook. They tell lies. We have a U.S. military that has 35,000 immigrants who are not U.S. citizens who are serving in the U.S. military today. 8,000 more sign up every year. We allow that in our U.S. military. We allow it in a couple of other states, and more states are adding on to this list of states that are allowing legal permanent residents. So I'm proud that we are doing this. I think it's the right thing to do. It's also good for our police departments. And oh, by the way, the Fraternal Order of Police has supported it.
So there's Governor J.B. Pritzker in the state of Illinois boasting about HB 3751. And according to, I'm reading from Center for Immigration Studies, which is, of course, a pro-immigration regulation website, says the Illinois House and Senate passed and Governor J.B. Pritzker signed into law HB 3751 legislation allowing non-citizens, including illegal alien beneficiaries of the Obama administration's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which you have known as DACA, quasi-amnesty to be employed as police officers and deputy sheriffs in Illinois. That's what the Center for Immigration Studies says about it. Let's speak to somebody who is in the Illinois Senate about it. Our friend, Illinois State Senator of the 54th District, Jason Plummer, joins us now. Jason, thanks for being here with us today. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Annie. How are you?
I'm doing okay. This is one of these bills. I'm just going to tell you straight off. I see both sides. I know that there were many Republicans in the House that did vote in support of this, including Republican representatives who are in law enforcement currently. I see kind of both sides of this, but you have a specific take on it, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to respond to Governor Pritzker's condemnation of Republicans who are bemoaning this on social media, of all places. That's where people talk, Governor. Jason Plummer, what do you think about HB 3751 and what it means for the state of Illinois?
Well, I think it says a few things about the state of Illinois. I think, the governor wants to pretend like he doesn't participate in partisan rhetoric and everything that we're saying are lies. The reality is this just comes down to a fundamental belief of, Senate Republicans, and that's a pretty simple thing that we think that you should be a citizen, a U.S. citizen, before being handed a badge and a gun and arrest authorities over U.S. citizens. I think that's a fundamental belief. I think it makes a lot of sense. And the governor wants to kind of present some different analogies that I think are far from accurate and actually go against his ultimate claim.
So the difference between what the situation was in the state of Illinois before this bill was signed into law and after it was signed into law. Talk to us in the most simplest of terms. What did this bill do in the state of Illinois when it comes to who can and cannot be a police officer?
Well, it empowers, like I said, local agencies and departments to put onto the streets with a badge and a gun and arrest authorities, non-citizens. when this bill was presented in the Senate and when it was passed, some of the supporters claimed it was merely symbolic, which, considering the issues facing the state of Illinois, if that were true, why we would waste times on things that are merely symbolic is beyond me. But I think that they hid behind the claim that it was symbolic because they knew that there were real issues at play here, and they knew that the average Illinoisan would be offended by the legislation. This isn't symbolic legislation. What it does is it puts a mandate on all local law enforcement departments in Illinois. As you and I both know, Annie, there's the Illinois Human Rights Act. And under the Illinois Human Rights Act, it's a civil rights violation in the state of Illinois for any employer to refuse to hire an applicant because of their citizenship or work authorization status. So to say it's symbolic because departments wouldn't be forced to do this, and if departments didn't want to do it, they wouldn't have to. They know that these agencies will quickly run into the Illinois Human Rights Act, and all of our police departments will be getting sued if they elect not to hire someone because they're not a citizen.
We're speaking with Illinois State Senator Jason Plummer. We're grateful to have him on the show with us today. Senator, I talked to two different sheriffs in the state of Illinois, across the state of Illinois, not local to here, that were articulating to me the conundrum that exists with this specific bill, matched with the incredible police shortage that we have in the state of Illinois. And it's the reason why that I look at this and I can kind of see both sides of the issue is because Illinois has created such an anti-police, at least politically, an anti-police climate here. There's no wonder to me that we have a police shortage. If you're going to serve in a state where police and our law enforcement are going to be demeaned and denigrated for the service that they offer, I can understand why we have created an issue for ourselves, which has been based largely out of politics, certainly increased by Chicago, where we have now created an issue for ourselves where we need more police officers. And one of the specific sheriffs that I was speaking to, who is a strong conservative and of all accounts that I've had with him, he said, we need people. And there was somebody working in a jail that is in his county who would be a fantastic police officer that before this bill could not serve. They would still go through the same hiring processes that any other police officer would do. There's no illegal immigrant who's going to now be able to gain access to a gun. I think that there is a problem here that needs to be solved. Maybe this wasn't the right way to do it, but I just wondered what your thoughts and reactions were to that perspective on the issue.
Well, it's Illinois, so there's a lot of problems to solve, and I think you're correct. I mean, no one has been louder in the state Senate than me when it comes to what state policy is doing to local law enforcement.
That's right.
I mean, when I was a senator in the 54th district, I represented all or part of 8 counties, and in 4 years, I had 5 sheriffs leave because of public policy. And now in the 55th, I represent all or part of 11 counties. I've already had 1 sheriff leave, and they're not leaving because they're retiring to the beach. They're leaving because they don't want to deal with public policy. So, recruitment is a real problem. Retaining existing officers is a real problem. The solution, filling these gaps that we have in our departments and our agencies with folks who are not U.S. citizens and giving them a badge and a gun and arrest authority over U.S. citizens, I think is the wrong solution. And ultimately, it's a Band-Aid because, maybe Governor Pritzker and his legislative allies think less of these immigrants than I do, but they're going to be fearful of the same exact things the current police officers are fearful of. So we're broadening the pool briefly, but we still haven't fixed these structural issues that's harming our law enforcement agencies across the state. As far as the sheriff that mentioned, the need to fill his ranks, I think that you would find sheriffs across the state that would agree with that. I think our municipal agencies, totally agree with that as well. The problem that we have is, once again, Governor Pritzker and his legislative allies push legislation that they, again, say is symbolic. They say that there's rules in place that would prevent certain people from becoming law enforcement officers. And the fact of the matter is, when when it's signed into law, you find out those things aren't true. A lot of people are claiming, illegal immigrants are going to be police officers. I'm not one that claims that. I've corrected people on that matter. However, I would say that this law does allow people who entered the country illegally, who then went through the DACA program, to become law enforcement officers. And I think that's concerning to a lot of Illinoisans.
Yeah. Senator, I think what this is a bad solution to an even worse problem. And this is where Illinois has really found itself. I mean, you are an advocate and fighter for conservative values out of the 55th district. I apologize for getting your new redistrict wrong earlier in the 54th, where you were previously located. But Illinois has, we've got another opportunity. Election season is starting up again here. And you can't. Winning a Republican race in Illinois is not the same as winning it in Missouri. There's a distinct difference in the way business is done in Illinois versus the way business is done in Missouri. And there's a lot of disenchanted people in our state, Senator. I want to know what you want to tell those individuals about any semblance of hope that a moderate to conservative voter in Southern Illinois, in Northern Illinois, heck, across the state. Is there any hope that you can offer about how we have to get to the place where we don't have to give bad solutions to worse problems, where we can actually start turning this state around?
Well, I don't know how much time we have, Annie, but I could talk on that for a while.
You take the time you need.
Yeah, briefly, I think there's 3 points I want to highlight. Okay, so point number one is, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, whatever. I think rational people will recognize that one thing that has made America great, one thing that has made our individual states great over the course of time is a healthy two-party system of government. I think that whenever one party takes absolute control, I've seen it on the Republican side, I've seen it on the Democrat side. I'm living it on the Democrat side right now in Illinois. A lot of times people lose focus of being responsive to voters, and that's not good for democracy. It's not good for the economy. It's not good for anything. So we need a healthy two-party system, and for there to be a healthy two-party system in Illinois, the Republican Party needs to get its act together. I think the Senate caucus is doing a great job. The Senate caucus is organized and as effective as I've seen it in a long time. You mentioned earlier in your comments that, some House members on the Republican side voted for this legislation. That's very true. However, I would say that I've talked to a lot of those House members, and, I think that they all regret their vote. Every single one I've talked to regrets their vote. And I would question what was going on the House side when this happened. It must be a leadership issue or something there, because Republicans have to be rowing in the same direction. We have to be aligned. Our federal office holders, our Senate folks, the House folks, the state party, local parties have to be organized, and not because I'm saying Republican rah-rah, but for the sake of democracy, you have to have a healthy two-party system.
Right.
And the Republican Party in Illinois has been negligent in providing a viable alternative to the Democrats. So there's a lot of work to be done there, and I spend a lot of my time on that very issue. Second thing I'd highlight is, you said the way things are done in Missouri, the way things are done in Illinois are maybe two different things. True, and a lot of things have changed over a couple decades. But, I just remember 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when Republicans controlled many parts of state government in Illinois, and Missouri was the ultimate bellwether toss-up state.
Yeah.
And, fast forward 20 years, and now Missouri is a very dark red, and Illinois seems to be a pretty dark blue. I don't think the people of Illinois or the people of Missouri have changed as dramatically as the politics seem to have changed. I think a lot of that goes to, the system of government and how those states are operating. So once again, while Illinois is very blue today, I don't think it necessarily has to be very blue tomorrow. Both states in the metro area have showed that their politics can trend pretty heavily in a pretty short fashion. And if Republicans in Illinois step up and deliver a message and deliver a set of issues that, Illinoisans agree with and Illinoisans respect, Republicans will be put back in a position of power. We just haven't really done that lately. And that kind of goes back to my first point. The third point, I would say, and that kind of comes to the heart of this issue, and one of my frustrations in Springfield is the fault of some of these problems isn't at the foot of the Illinois voter. Media plays a role in what's happening, and I don't care if it goes to the infamous library book ban, or if it goes to the budget that was just passed, or if it goes to this issue right here. I think media has surrendered its role in helping inform and educate and keep the public up to date on what's happening at the Capitol. And you have people like Governor Pritzker, who will seize the bully pulpit and is shameless in advancing things that are not accurate and frankly dishonest. And so the media needs to step up in its role of holding elected officials accountable and making sure that they're looking out for the people of the state, because we've got a lot of work to do, and we can't, unfortunately, trust all of our elected officials in Illinois to do the right thing. And this example right here is a perfect example of the governor completely misleading people. As someone who served in the Navy, I cannot tell you how offended I am by the governor. As someone who served next to people in military uniform who was not a U.S. citizen, for the governor to use that analogy to this scenario is two entirely different things. People who come to the United States and serve in our military to earn their citizenship hold the value and the prestige of being a U.S. citizen so much higher than someone like Governor Pritzker could ever imagine that they would think so little of citizenship status, that borders don't matter, citizenship status and employment doesn't matter in terms of what we're doing with the budget, and healthcare doesn't matter. I mean, people who serve in the military to earn their citizenship, that citizenship means something to them. They wrap themselves in the U.S. flag. And someone like Governor Pritzker couldn't even fathom something like that. He thinks so little of what it is to be a U.S. citizen.
I'm tracking right there with you, and it is hard to watch the way he is just single-handedly taking this state so far to the left, of course with the support of the Springfield legislature, but you're right, the two-party system needs to be revived in the state of Illinois, and a unified Republican Party is where it starts. State Senator Jason Plummer, we're grateful for your time here today and look forward to following up with you on more issues as they continue to rise. It's going to be a very busy election season, and that unified Republican Party, it can start from Southern Illinois. I truly believe so. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Annie. Thanks for being one of those good ones in media, keeping people accountable.
Thank you. I do my best. We appreciate you. Illinois State Senator Jason Plummer, 55th District, redistricted out of the 54th, and is now serving the 55th. If you'd like to connect with him, you can go online to his Twitter, or to his Facebook page, I should say. He's got a very, very active Facebook page. Find him there. Illinois State Senator Jason Plummer. Weekends America in studio when we come back. Don't go away.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Turn my head until my darkness goes. I see a line of cars and they are painted black.
Stewart's American Mortgage is where you go to get the bagel loan, and it's the only place you can go to get the bagel loan. You can start that process right now by just asking a question to Stewie by calling him or texting him at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. My friend Stewie is waiting for you to contact him and begin that conversation. He is one of the most successful lenders in the country because he has found the way that puts you at the epicenter of the business deal of securing a mortgage. The bagel loan can be an incredible difference maker in your ability to secure the house that you have been dreaming of. And when you contact Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, he's going to walk you through the process. He's going to explain to you how only with the bagel loan can you not pay anything in closing costs. It's not a trick. He doesn't roll it into the mortgage. It's not going to creep up on you over the course of the span of 20, 30 years within that mortgage. Those closing costs don't exist. Why would you pay closing costs when you do not have to? Call my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440 and ask Stewie about the bagel loan. It's Stewart's American Mortgage. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AA MCO.
For over a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. A new bill in Congress would ensure this free, reliable service remains in cars. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM radio for every vehicle act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick and towing is free. Plus, you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
The warmth of your furnace, the coziness of your gas fireplace, warm cookies from the oven, and a hot shower after a long day. This winter, take time to appreciate the gas that powers your home. Gas is flammable and can become dangerous if there's a leak. This message from the Missouri Association of Natural Gas Operators.
Coming up at 1:25, Andy McCarthy, contributing editor at National Review, will be on the show to talk about not only the Trump indictments, but the gag orders and having cameras in the courtroom. Will that happen? We'll find out at 1:25. Right now, it's 12:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Tuesday, but it's the weekend in our hearts, huh? That was by The Weeknd. Did you get the reference?
No, explain it to me.
That the artist of that song is named The Weeknd.
One of my favorite memes is the one where he can't find his way out of that Super Bowl stage. I know how you feel.
I like that there's a Twitter account that's just called Welcome to the Weekend, and it's just, who is it, James Bond saying,
Daniel Craig.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Weeknd. Every Friday.
When you walk up to him and say hi, do you have to say hi The Weeknd?
I think so.
Do you have to say the? You can't just like shorten it to hey Weekend.
No, that article is part of his name. Unless you're buddies with him. Then you just say Weekend or Weeky.
I thought it was weird when you wanted us to call you the Wiggins, but I guess now it makes more sense.
No, that's part of my name. It's my on-air personality.
What's that?
Nothing. I don't do radio, so it doesn't matter.
I don't do radio.
What I have for you today is a few new ways that hiring agents or interviewers are thinning the herd. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for a job, and I've got some traditional ones here too, but I like these new ones because I want to see, Are they
you
actually
searching
new?
for a new job?
I can't say because I don't do radio. But I think these are interesting, and I want to see if anybody in the room or anybody who's listening has had these happen to them, because they're pretty smart ways to test people. So this first one is the receptionist test. Now, I don't know that this is really new, because I've always thought this is a great way to, as somebody who would interview for jobs, this is a great way to sort of get a feel for what you're walking into. This person who was hiring said today, a candidate blew his interview in the first 5 minutes after he entered the building. He was dismissive to the receptionist. She greeted him and he barely made eye contact. She tried to engage him in conversation. Again, no eye contact, no interest in speaking with her. What the candidate did not realize was that we set the hiring manager at the front desk just to test people when they walk in, to see if they treat everybody the same or just the hiring manager nice.
Perfect example of how you should hire people.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this. Other people, now this one's not on the list, but it reminds me of the restaurant test, that if you have a meeting in a restaurant or a diner or something, which I think I did for this job. We sat in a diner and they test to see how you interact with the waiter or the waitress, to see, are you just there to put on a show for the person hiring you, or are you actually nice to people who clearly have no impact on the way that you're going to be doing that job?
Yep, do it.
Love it.
In fact, I'm going to sit out there with you tomorrow, and we're going to fire all the people who aren't nice to us.
Yeah. Anybody who walks in, they're not going to know.
They're not going to actually be fired either, but we're going to just be like, you're fired.
Right. And they're not going to know we're from a radio show. They have no idea.
No. They're going to be like, are you supposed to be here to stock the kitchen vending machine? Yeah? Is that you? Where are the granola bars?
You're fired, D to the C. You didn't even know it was me.
D to the C is going to stop, pause, look at you with those eyes, shake his head, and go back to work.
He was wearing a shirt the other day that said Big D on the back.
Yeah.
And I was walking behind him and I said, Big D, I would have had no idea it was you, except that your name was on your shirt. Well, he's fired anyway.
Yeah.
So the next one, sorry, Big D.
He's
that was
not
just
fired.
a joke. In my job descriptions, if I'm advertising on LinkedIn, this is the hiring manager saying this, halfway through it, I'll explain in the About You section that you need to have a high attention to detail. That's your tip-off. Then it will say, you understand that to apply for this job, you have to use the email that it's at the bottom of this advertisement and not this section. So it's a LinkedIn, it's an automatic generated, you can just click apply for the job right there. But in the details, it'll say, no, this is how you apply for the job.
I do not want to, I get it, but I don't want to work for that person.
And it's tricky. It's tricky.
How you treat people versus somebody who, if I'm going to go apply to a job somewhere where they've laid traps for me before I've even stepped in the building.
That's definitely this one. I don't think it's just LinkedIn either. I've seen this people saying elsewhere in the past few years that on ZipRecruiter or whatever, that they'll include in there, because you can just apply for the job right there on the website, but they'll include in there, hidden in the details somewhere, here's who you have to email or here's how you do it, just to weed out people who aren't paying attention.
I've seen teachers do that with tests.
Yeah, but that's different. That's a test.
What do you mean with tests? What do you mean?
Well, it'll be something to the effect of, the very first line will be, please read all the instructions before completing this test, and then you get all the way through the end of the instructions, and there's something weird there. That
It'll say only answer question number 1 and submit the paper to the teacher.
Okay. All right, here's the last one. And I think this one is another one
Teachers are jerks.
A little bit of a trick. This is called the coffee cup test.
I'm married to a teacher.
We all are, and they're all jerks.
They're all jerks. We feel abused. Can't wait till they go back to work.
Yeah, I know.
In a couple weeks.
When we go home, we're like, what have you been doing all day? Nothing? I've been working my butt off.
Yeah. You know, my wife literally said today, I don't really know what I'm going to do today.
Don't
Teachers
say that,
are
Tammy.
jerks.
Don't say that. All right, real
Somebody
quick.
tuned into the show for the first time right now.
The coffee cup
Annie
test.
Fry Show hates teachers.
You got to watch for this if you go in an interview in this day and age, because what they're doing is they will fill up a coffee cup and give it to you, whether it's water or coffee or whatever you want, but they'll give it to you in a real coffee cup, not in a disposable cup. And then at the end of the interview, they will see whether you just leave it there or if you bring it back to the kitchen or you even say, hey, can I put this away for you or whatever, to see how you would handle leaving things around the office to see what kind of employee you'd
I read
be.
that in the New York Post, and I don't think it should be a disqualifier, but it is something that if somebody it's like it could only, to me, it can only be a plus.
It's an indicator.
It shouldn't be a negative.
Yes.
Because I don't want someone coming, if I have a guest in my house, like a true guest, not somebody who's familiar, like not like you guys. If I had somebody who was coming over the first time.
Yeah, we just put our feet up.
I don't necessarily want them like doing dishes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But if somebody, it's almost a formality like, can I take my cup somewhere? Yes.
The offer is what matters.
It would be noted. Are there more?
That's the main new 3. Now, there's a bunch more, but that's the new ones.
We might revisit later in the show. Stick around. We got Andy McCarthy in the 1 o'clock hour. Don't go away.
If we've learned anything from recent news, it's that unexpected things are happening. Your gut tells you there's something very wrong going on, and all the evidence suggests that there is. Government emails are hacked. There's talk of how to fight World War III, and trade of grains and food are being disrupted. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better. It's time to invest in self-reliance and emergency food storage now, more than ever. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, is the place you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunch, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save 25%, plus get free shipping on all their 3-month emergency food kits. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Setting a hearing for evidence rules. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Former President Trump and his legal team facing a deadline in just under an hour to submit dates for a hearing where a judge will decide if Trump will be barred from making evidence in the case public or commenting on witnesses. Fox's Alexandria Hoff.
Trump attorneys want to make sure that the protective order that the DOJ is seeking is not too broad, that only sensitive or sealed materials should be kept out of the public view. Former President Trump sees any restrictions on what he can say about the January 6th case as a breach of his rights.
Special counsel Jack Smith and the Justice Department say the former president wants to litigate the case in the media. Ohio's voters are deciding today whether to make their state constitution harder to amend. The outcome of today's vote will affect a November ballot question over abortion rights. The measure would increase the threshold to change the state's constitution from a simple majority to 60%. A federal appeals court is freezing a program designed to forgive student loan debt for borrowers who were misled by institutions or victims of fraud, while judges consider challenges from for-profit schools.
Arguments in the case are scheduled for November. The program was initially put in place during the Obama administration. It was weakened during the Trump administration. President Biden revived it to streamline the process for borrowers to apply. The administration has canceled nearly $15 billion in debt for more than 1 million borrowers.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. President Biden's in Arizona, expected to formally announce a national monument designation preserving more than 1,500 square miles just outside Grand Canyon National Park. Tribes and environmentalists have been advocating for increased protections on the land for decades. Mining companies and the areas that would benefit from their business have been opposed. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart.
Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sunshine in control, nice temperatures, nice humidity, 85. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, a slow drop into the upper 70s for evening plans, 65 for the low. Wednesday, umbrella time, periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms anytime, but especially during the afternoon, 80 for the high. Wednesday night, the showers and storms should end by 10 o'clock. Thursday, all is quiet. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Window World is waiting for you to reach out to them and see what they can offer you as far as your next window purchase will include. If you have any questions and you want a free in-home estimate, you can call Window World at 314-993-1800. You can find them at windowworld.com as well. One thing that separates Window World from the rest of their competition is their commitment to customer service. And you can see this through a track record and their record with the BBB, other reporting agencies as well. If you already have Window World windows, remember that the Window World can also do siding and entry doors. They are now offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So when you're going to purchase a window or all the windows, when you reach out to Window World at 314-993-1800, you're going to be able to get yourself with great warranty available windows that will last, windows that you can rely on. In just over 20 years in business, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 70,000 customers right here in St. Louis. Call them and ask them your questions and tell them the Annie Fry Show sent you. 314-993-1800, online at windowworld.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
St. Louis physician Dr. Abicki created Neovitin 15 years ago to help support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Since then, Neovitin has helped thousands of people support their daily nutrition with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend. If you're ready to join many St. Louisans in supporting their nutrition, give Neovitin a try. You can find Neovitin at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
The Heritage Foundation is coming to St. Louis. It's this Wednesday. Join all of us at 97.1 FM Talk at Tapawingo National Golf Club. We're almost sold out, so get your $10 tickets now. Go to 971talk.com/events.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
This hour of the Annie Fry Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right? You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Hi, Dana. Yeah, these fields, they're used constantly by kids and teams in order to play soccer and other sports. And now they're being converted into migrant shelter. The city is moving fast. The parents and the coaches that we have spoken to, they are beyond frustrated that the city is taking away from their children.
It's absurd, outrage. Myself, as well as many of the clubs, it's going to leave us in a lot of a situation where our kids are going to suffer.
You know, for those of us that live in New York City, we know that green space is hard to come by. And from talking to parents and coaches, they explained to me that the permitting process to get access to these fields, it is tedious. It is done months, if not years in advance. And now 4 to 5 fields being taken offline just like that.
So the migrant crisis, this is a border crisis. We have multiple crises that are all culminating because the Biden administration is unwilling to secure our southern border. Full stop. I am very much so looking forward to tomorrow having the Brain Trust, some of our closest friends at the Heritage Foundation, in town to discuss these very issues because Jim Carafano, Hans von Spakovsky, Genevieve Wood are going to be here. And we have them in studio. Normally, we'd be talking with Jim Carafano right now, but he's on an airplane to come here to see us. When are they in studio tomorrow?
They're in studio from 12:25 till the end of the first hour.
So Wiggins America got the bump?
Yep.
Well, I mean, we could still play the sounder and I could still do the segment over whatever they're trying to say.
In your office?
No.
He's got a little soundboard.
We need to get
him.
We need to get him a little button, like the easy button that just plays his intro. You can do Wiggins America anywhere you go.
That's a great idea. What we'll do is we'll not tell Hans or Jim or Genevieve that that's happening, and then we'll just do it and see what happens.
False. So we'll have all three of them in studio from 12:25 through the rest of the hour, and we will relocate Wiggins America to probably 1:45. And we're going to talk to him about a lot of these issues. Is it not shocking how obvious this problem is and how it's bled into the Northeast of all places? This is a southern border problem that is now become, in at least Massachusetts, a state of emergency. Fox News reports Massachusetts Governor Healy on Tuesday declared a state of emergency in the liberal state over a surge of migrants that she says has left social services overwhelmed, calling for more funding and federal action. Healy, a Democrat, announced that a state of emergency exists, quote, due to a rapid and unabating increase in the number of families with children and pregnant people, many of them newly arriving migrants and refugees living within the state, but without the means to secure safe shelter in our communities. The state says there are nearly 5,600 families, or more than 20,000 people in the state shelter system. Healy said there are numerous contributing factors, including, quote, federal policies on immigration and work authorization, end quote, as well as lack of affordable housing and the end of COVID-era programs. Massachusetts is the latest liberal jurisdiction to call for help from the federal government due to the surge of migrants, despite not being anywhere near the besieged southern border. New York City, Chicago, and the state of New York have all made emergency declarations this year and called for help in response to a migrant wave. Good grief! Stop them from coming here.
So this Democrat governor of Massachusetts who calls pregnant women pregnant people is acknowledging that the border is a problem. That's what it's going to take.
It's become their problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a problem. It is now their problem.
And that is exactly what it's going to take. Here's the problem. Republicans, I remember Jim Carafano right after Joe Biden took office in 2021 saying, get ready, there is a big problem that's starting, and it is the border. It hasn't changed in over 2 years. He was calling it out then.
He said it was going to be the premier issue in the 2024 presidential election. I'm not even 100% sure that Joe Biden had been inaugurated when Jim Carafano was saying.
Yes.
This will be the key issue in 2024.
That early. It was that early. And the problem is that Democrats, and to an extent Republicans, we have become so separate that we can't hear an issue. And this one is a really good example of this. This was an issue for Democrats when it was Trump. Then it gets worse, and Democrats just sort of turn a blind eye to it for now almost 3 years. And the problem is now on their doorstep, and now it's a problem. If you had heard from Americans, not Republicans, but Americans, hey, this is an issue, and it's a political one that can be solved quickly, and put pressure on the president at the time, who is a Democrat, this issue would not be happening right now as we speak.
Well, they kind of backed themselves into a corner because they like to use the separating of children and how Donald Trump is treating these poor migrants as a cudgel to beat Donald Trump over the head with, to show him as a mean person or a bad individual. And Donald Trump was dealing with a very real issue. So they were throwing all these things at him. And then whenever they caught the tiger by the tail, they're like, now I have to deal with this. And they're backed into a corner. So what they're saying is now we have to do everything that we were accusing Donald Trump of doing, or we have to let it go and just let things go crazy. And they chose the latter because they had to save face and do what they were saying Donald Trump should have been doing.
Comment on the Annie Fry YouTube channel right now, where I'd love for you to go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? A benefit, loss, or no effect? A comment comes in and says, disagree with Wiggins. The border isn't the problem. Immigration is the problem. Let's try the bipartisan approach, starting with DACA. This is the most, I'm sorry, commenter, this is the most politically ignorant or super arrogant comment to deliver on an issue like this, because what you're saying is, don't look over here, look over there, in order to abdicate any responsibility from the fact the border is not secure. It's not secure. I've seen it with my own eyes. There's a video out right now, a photo out right now. I can show it to the live stream because I haven't cleared it yet from my notifications. And there's a Fox News image that shows a suspected cartel gunman crossing the border into Texas. That gun that he's holding when he crosses the border, for Democrats, is a scary looking gun. But he's a cartel member coming across the southern border. You don't think we need to secure the southern border? I mean, stop it with this. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time while we're juggling and playing in a one-man band. We have to be able to do this. And anybody who comes at you with this idea that it's not the border security that's a problem, it's immigration that's a problem. And any Republican that comes to you and says it's not immigration that's the problem, it's only the border, both of those people are fighting political battles that screw America in the end. You have to pay attention to both things. There are issues in both hands that you have to fix. In the right hand, you have border security that is completely and totally ignored because the two people running our countries are morons when it comes to the damage that their policies are doing to the sovereignty of this country. In the left hand, you have the idea of immigration, where you have jobs in this country that people will immigrate here to fill, that will make this country more prosperous. We can make those jobs more accessible to those people and give them a path to get into this country, to perform these jobs, to love this country, to abide by the rules and the laws and the systems. But we don't talk about any of it because it's easy enough. It's simple enough. If you're on the right to say, oh, we're not talking about immigration. We're only talking about border security. And if you're on the left, you're saying, we're not talking about border security. We have an immigration problem. You expose yourself every single time when that is the only focus that you need to key people in on. You are trying to win a political battle, and that political battle that you will win will lose the literal war that we are fighting right now on the southern border while people are coming here that we cannot sustain. We have veterans living on the street right now that are not being taken care of because these homeless shelters are being overtaken by people who we welcomed here. We punched the ticket and we said, come on in, with no resources to provide for them. This is not humanitarian. This is the opposite of humanitarian. The political bologna sausage that is surrounding this issue that comes from the left and the right is killing the country. And if somebody's not going to come and say, this is what we need to do, we need to fix the immigration system, but we can't fix an immigration system when the patient is still on the table bleeding out. You've got to stop the bleeding. We can have people focusing on immigration while we have people focusing on securing the border, but to discount one and say that it does not constitute as a problem, to say that the border is not a problem is the most politically disingenuous baloney sausage that a Politico can muster. If you're concerned about that and not the other thing, and I throw it right back in the face of Republicans who only want to talk about border security and not discuss the fact that we need to improve our immigration system, top to bottom, both of those parties don't care about the future of this country. They care about winning a political argument and making sure somebody else loses. That guy said he disagreed with you.
The fact is, there are a lot of approaches to immigration that nobody's taking. But I'm just looking at a graph because I wanted to pull it up and just see migrant encounters at the U.S.-Mexico border. You know that they were actually at historic lows from about 2008 through 2021. That includes Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were below 50,000 for the most part. It does go up a little bit seasonally here and there, and you see it over and over because it's every year. A little bit more when it's nicer weather down there. But for the most part, below 50,000 a year for 2008 through 2021. I'm looking at it right now. It was actually higher during George W. Bush. Immediately when Joe Biden takes office, it jumps immediately from average of below 50,000 a year to 224,000 in 2021, then 206,000 in 2022, and 224. So up above 200,000 a year under every year of Joe Biden thus far. That is a huge change, and that is absolutely a big part of the problem. To say that it's not is just ignorant of the facts.
And it's not the whole problem.
No.
Our immigration system deserves an overhaul. How is it that we live in a country that the progressive left hates so much, but is willing to throw the doors open immediately for people to flood in here to benefit from? How is that true in the same sentence? What is so magnificent about the United States of America that we should welcome all? Yes, let's talk about bring your tired and your weary, or let's talk about the Statue of Liberty and why we should bring everybody in and throw. It is the American way. You hate the American way. You hate what built this country. You hate the idea, Al Sharpton, that you might possibly find children who, could you imagine a situation where James Madison talks about overthrowing the government? Yes, in American history class is where you find that information. We have an incredible history in this country that is full of incredible highs and incredible lows. And yet here we are, the place that people will risk life and limb to get here. And the Democrats feign interest in this humanitarian effort of allowing one and all to just come willfully across the southern border. And unless you welcome them with open arms, you bigot, if you are absolutely opposed to this in any way, shape, or form, you are a hateful person. That is a political play. The same people who want to pound their fist on the table saying that pro-life people are only pro-birth people, you don't care about them after they're born. It's the same dang thing when you talk about immigration. People come flooding here. Those people are not living in a life of benefit and splendor. You want them here because you need something from them. And you think, and I actually disagree with this, that the stories that will be passed generationally about the Democrats who brought these people into our country, that those stories will be told with fawning interest over the Democrat Party for what they did for you. I think they're going to be stories that are about what they did to you. That they lied to you, that they brought you here under some false pretense. And once they got you here, you had to live in the shadows and try to make ends meet and work hard. And, you know, these people, God, if I hear the Democrats say one more time something about the idea of these people will work for wages that Americans won't. What? How do you say that out loud? It's freaking racist to say things like this. These people will do jobs that Americans just won't. What are you saying out loud? These people are humans that deserve the same dignity and respect that any American does. And Democrats don't treat them that way. But these people are useful to the Democrat Party who refuse to close the border. And those people who are here, who maybe don't look like Joe Biden, the rich, white, wealthy man who runs the country. Maybe these people who come here don't look like that, but it seems like Joe Biden and his party need these people. That's the way the Democrats would play it if they were talking about it politically. And the Democrats are disingenuous with each and every effort that they use to try to employ race to persuade people. We are obviously standing at a precipice of success or failure for the country. And we're playing with fire when we don't address it immediately. Immediately, we're past time. That's what Jim Carafano was talking about and has been talking about. I mean, the problem was in existence and bad when Trump was in office. It needed more work and more help. Maybe more wall, maybe not. Maybe more technology, maybe more people. There is work to do. Jim Carafano has been at the forefront of this. I mean, even when Trump was in office, we were talking about it. So we're going to have him in town tomorrow, in studio tomorrow at 12:25, along with Hans von Spakovsky. When we come back, we're going to speak with Andy McCarthy, and we're going to talk about Trump indictments. We're going to talk about gag orders. We're going to talk about cameras in the courtroom. I might ask him about the slate of electors scenario and how that fits in with this. But tomorrow night, if people want to come hang out with us, it's going to be a great event. Ryan, can you tell us real quick how people can grab the few tickets that are left?
971talk.com/events. You do want to get tickets today because I'm told that it is close enough to selling out that there probably won't be walk-up. So you do want to do that quickly. Come to the events tomorrow night, Tapawingo at 7 o'clock.
We'll be there. All of us,
all
right?
of us will be there.
Yep, and I would love to see you. Come hang out. Andy McCarthy on the Andy McFry Show when we come back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Thomas Helbig Retirement Advisory Group Seminar has a couple seats available for you to take, and I would love for them to go to some Annie Fry Show listeners. If your evening became all of the sudden free, I want you to call 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494, and snag the last few seats that are available at the Frontenac Hilton tonight. The event starts at 6:30 p.m. I'll be there at 6 p.m., and I'll be trying to meet each and every one of you and talking to you and getting to know you. It's always a great opportunity for me to have that opportunity to say hello and to meet some of you folks. I love that opportunity. But at 6:30, the real opportunity starts, where you get to hear the Protecting Your Retirement educational event that Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, and the entire team at Retirement Advisory Group put together for you. It's free. It costs you nothing. There are snacks. There are drinks. It's at the Plaza Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. It's a wonderful room. It's a wonderful event. It costs you nothing. You get snacks, and I would love the opportunity to meet you, along with Mark Cox and Mark Reardon. If you want to sign up, call right now. Mention the Annie Fry Show when you do and say, I'd like to know more about this seminar tonight. 314-993-9494. Call 314-993-9494 or find them online at retirementkey.com.
Summer is flying by. Fall is on the way, and maybe you haven't cleaned up yet from that summer barbecue, or you want to get ready for some fall parties with back to school coming up very quickly. Zero Res has you covered on every occasion. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. So it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. They have awesome technicians. They always walk you through the entire cleaning process. They give you options as well. I mean, I have pet accidents occasionally at my home, and they have great bio treatments for that. Through the month of August, here's the offer for Mark Reardon Show listeners. When you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk, 3 rooms starting at $129. Also, get the air ducts cleaned, and you can take $75 off air duct cleaning with Zero Res during August. Don't forget about cleaning that dryer vent, too. Zero Res has a 4.9 Google rating with over 4,700 reviews and a legendary 30-day gotta love it guarantee. Schedule your appointment today at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020. Ask for the Mark Reardon 97.1 FM Talk special. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-399-9407 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-399-9407. That's 800-399-9407. What do you have to lose? Call 800-399-9407. Again, 800-399-9407.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Hey, the gang from Heritage in town for our Wednesday night event is going to be with me in the studio Tuesday afternoon. JJ Carafano, Hans von Spakovsky, and Genevieve Wood. It all starts at 3.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, making music for the people. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. Music for the people, making music for the people.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I want to magnify your light. I want to reflect the sun.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
With colors by the million.
Deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged human being. You take a look at that face, you say, that guy is a sick man. There's something wrong with him. Somebody said, why don't you be nice to him? I said, yeah, wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter. This guy's a maniac.
Classic Trump. And what an intro to come in with. I was like going to play that sound. I'm like, over that song? Okay, we'll make it happen. Donald Trump gets his 3rd indictment and everybody sits and waits, I don't know, for the 4th, 5th, 6th indictment that might come down. What does this one mean and what is this one over? Let's talk to our friend Andy McCarthy joins us now, contributing editor at National Review, a Fox News contributor and friend here of the Annie Fry Show. Welcome back to the show, Andy. Good to have you back.
Annie, great to be here.
So I want to give you the opportunity to kind of lay out for us the key points that you want people who are voting Americans, tax-paying Americans, concerned Americans to know about indictment number 3 for Donald Trump.
Well, I think this one is really political act that's been kind of dressed up as a legal exercise. Essentially, I think that the political process, specifically the impeachment process, which is the way that our Constitution really anticipates that executive misbehavior will be dealt with, that it'll be Congress that checks the president. They failed to hold former President Trump accountable in that process. That hasn't been an acceptable outcome to a lot of people, as we've seen for the last couple of years. And as a result, they have decided to try to go after him in the criminal justice system. And the problem I think they have is not that there isn't a lot of evidence of terrible behavior by the former president. There is. But the problem is the criminal system's not a good proxy for impeachment. And in order to prosecute Trump criminally, Smith is in the position of having to stretch some penal laws in order to try to make the post-2020 election conduct kind of fit into those statutes. They're made really for impeachment because for impeachment you don't need a criminal offense. And it's enough, like, for example, with respect to the Capitol riot, it would be enough to show that someone was morally and politically responsible for that whole thing having happened. But in the criminal system, you have to show that somebody not only was, morally and politically responsible, but that it's criminally actionable in the sense that you could prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he wanted violence to happen and that he did affirmative things to make it happen. And they obviously don't have that kind of evidence. So I think it's a problematic case, especially compared to the Florida case, which I thought was much stronger.
Yeah, you've spoken with us. We're speaking with Andy McCarthy right now. You've spoken with us about different indictments that President Trump has had and how you feel some are much stronger than others. And when you focus in on the indictment number 3 that has a lot to do with January 6th, here's something that a lot of my listeners ask me about that I want to give you the opportunity to explain in the way you think is important for us non-legal eagles to understand. There is this discussion about the slating of fake electors, and that is like deep cut nerd stuff constitutionally and legally, and it's all being wrapped up in this conversation surrounding this Donald Trump indictment. What do people need to know about what Donald Trump tried to do, what was legal, what might not have been legal? What can you tell us?
I guess the first thing I would say about it, Annie, is what I used to say to jurors of non-lawyers, which is that you don't check your common sense at the door when you come into a courtroom. And I think using your common sense, or at least what passes for my common sense, what I remember about this is that what's now called the fake electors, like it's a big thing, at the time of January 6th was frivolous. Nobody thought that there were multiple slates of electors. Nobody thought that, this exercise that the Trump team had gone through of having, their supporters show up in some of these states and get themselves or go through a process that they themselves came up with to designate themselves as electors. Nobody for a second thought that those were the official state-certified electors and that this was actually going to be a thing on January 6th where they might get appointed as electors. That was never going to happen. So I think this is one of these things that reads a lot more intriguingly than it actually played out in real time. So here's what I understand the allegation essentially to be. What's called the fake electors, in the minds of people who volunteered to do this, the electors themselves, they didn't think of themselves as fake. They thought of themselves as contingent, which means their understanding was they weren't pretending to be state-certified electors. They were saying they stood ready to step into the shoes for electoral college purposes to cast that state's electoral votes if the Trump team was able to succeed in the courts or the state legislatures or with the state election officials in getting them to vacate the popular election in that state and substitute a legislative finding that Trump had won, which was what Trump was trying to accomplish. So these people didn't understand themselves to be doing anything wrong. What they were there for was if this unlikely contingency happened, they would go to the Electoral College and vote the state's votes for Trump, but only because it had been legally that the election had been legally vacated. And what appears to have happened is there were certificates of this exercise that were sent to Washington, and there was talk among the Trump team that this could be part of the package of things that they could present to Pence and to the Republicans in Congress as further arguments for why these Biden states electors shouldn't be counted and why they should either discount the votes or remand the election back to those states. But there was never any chance that it was going to happen because nobody believed that these people were actually certified by the only officials who, by law in those states, are allowed to certify electors. So I think the whole thing is, I just think it reads now like it was this big, sinister thing that they were trying to pull over everyone's eyes. And in the meantime, in real time, I was following this very closely, and it was a laughable exercise.
You know, I think listening to you explain that, Andy McCarthy, that what you've just explained there becomes a political calamity for the Trump people, but not really any sort of criminal liability for the Trump people. And that becomes very useful for people to perpetuate this story about fake electors and stealing the election when you're talking about constitutionally it sounds like what could have been pursued there would be a bit of a a constitutional unicorn. And when I think about where the Trump side was kind of trying to move the conversation on January 6th, it seems to me like any conversation that was actually kind of formulating like maybe this was a topic that was going to be discussed with all eyes in the country watching what Congress was going to do that day, that the riot that took place actually hurt Donald Trump's ability to have that conversation pursue.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, and some of the people who were involved in some of the planning for January 6th have made that very point, which is that if you buy the idea that that Trump had something to do with the riot, with like actionably, criminally instigating it, that would be counterintuitive to having this other fraud plot going, because the effect of the riot was to reject any other gambit that the Trump people might have come up with and say we have to put this behind us right now and vote to certify Biden's victory. So that is actually what happened. And I think the other important point you make there, Annie, is that when you say that this could have been a political problem for Trump, as I said at the beginning, the political calamity here is the one that's actually actionable, which is the impeachment process. So if he was trying to scheme this fake electors thing the way that they allege, you wouldn't have to find a penal crime for that because impeachment doesn't require that. But you could argue that it's an article of impeachment because his obligation, his oath as president, is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, and that scheme was meant to undermine the Constitution. So even if it wasn't a criminal offense, it might be an impeachable offense. And that's why, again, I think this whole thing is like you're trying to take a political square peg and squeeze it into the round hole of the criminal justice system.
Yeah. We're speaking with Andy McCarthy. I've got one last question for you, because this is something that you discussed with me at a previous indictment. It's hard to keep them all separate at this point.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you mentioned was that Donald Trump really believes what he has been saying, that the idea that the election was stolen is something that Donald Trump has his heart and his head in, and he believes it. And when you've said that, when I've heard that from other people, I wonder if it's really his best defense, because I, as a voter and somebody who wants to see the Republicans victorious in 2024, I kind of want him politically to stop talking about it, But I'm wondering if his perpetuating of bringing up the idea that, of course, the election was stolen really fortifies publicly the understanding that, no, this guy really believes what he's saying. And if he didn't believe it, if he was just trying to say it to incite action at the Capitol or to incite people to donate and lying to the American people to incite an action out of him, that might actually undermine his best defense in some of these cases.
Yeah, it undermines him both politically and legally. It undermines him politically because while this may be catnip for his base, which punches above its weight in the Republican primary nomination, 70% of the country hates this. So, the thought that you could go to the general electorate and say, now we're going to relitigate the 2020 election, they are not interested in this stuff. So I think it really, it confirms that if he's the nominee and that's the way he goes, there's no way that he could that he could win the election. So that's a political problem. And the legal problem, I think, is whatever he thought, let's say he really did believe what he said or he didn't believe what he was saying, is beside the point if the things they've charged him with are not actually crimes. So I think his best defense in the case is to argue that, for example, legally, fraud in the United States under the Supreme Court's most recent decisions, and really decisions that go back about 30, 40 years now, is that fraud in the United States is a financial crime. It's bilking people out of money or tangible property, and it is not the kind of thing, the kind of scheme that is laid out in the indictment. I think he can argue that on the obstruction counts, that what they're trying to criminalize is John Eastman's legal theory that, which was a cockamamie theory, that the vice president had the power to discount state electoral votes. But we've never in this country considered a frivolous legal theory to be a felony. As I told people, defense lawyers are very creative people. When I was a prosecutor, if frivolous legal theories were a felony, then I could have indicted 5 of them a day. And then the final thing is the civil rights thing. That civil rights statute that Smith has invoked for this case was actually enacted following the Civil War to go after the Ku Klux Klan in the South, preventing Black Americans from exercising their right to vote. So it was intended when it was enacted to go after forcible conduct that was preventing people from voting. It's been extended over time, I don't think properly, to other contexts in which you can impede the act of voting, like ballot stuffing situations and that sort of thing. But what went on here was not Trump didn't prevent anyone from voting. What happened here is after the fact of voting, he tried to go through the courts and the legislatures to discount those votes and get the legislature to substitute a vote for him, which you can find that reprehensible. I do under the circumstances, but it's not really what that civil rights statute was intended to address. So I think his best argument here, Annie, is against do these laws really apply to this conduct, not whether he believed it or he didn't believe it.
Andy McCarthy, it is such a privilege to speak to you on these issues, and we're really grateful for your time. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. Contributing editor at the National Review, fellow at the National Review Institute, Fox News contributor, and former chief assistant U.S. attorney, Andy McCarthy, on the Annie Frey Show with us. Gosh, I could have talked to him for hours. I have all of these questions in my head. I'm like, gosh, I should have broken 5 minutes ago.
Man, I heard him on.
I want more.
Yeah, I heard him on another podcast going into a lot of the stuff that he went in here, and I was like, we got to have him on.
It was great. Thanks for getting him. And seriously, if you are a fan of hearing him on this show, you can tweet him at Andrew C. McCarthy. Give him some love for coming on and talking to you, because that's really what he's doing when he's here on this show, is he's talking to you. And it helps to make sure that he knows that people are hearing him. Great to have him on the show. Good booking, Brad. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Frey Show around the corner. Don't go away.
Music for the people, making music for the people. Light shines bright everywhere we go. Music for the people to illuminate the soul. Light shines bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, Jesus, music for the people.
I got IGotFloored.com is the website. Have you checked it out yet? If you're shopping for flooring, it costs you literally nothing. 3 seconds of your time. IGotFloored.com. Michael's Flooring Outlet is there to service your needs for your flooring purchase. It can be residential, it can be commercial. If you're looking for flooring in your near future, Michael's, the locally owned and operated business for decades in St. Louis. They're going to give you the quality product that you need at the value that you expect. You work hard for your money. Michael's knows that just as much as anybody else. That's why their customer sales staff is trained to make sure that you are matched with the product that fits the budget and the expectations that you have. If you want to learn about how other customers have appreciated their opportunity to work with Michael's Flooring Outlet, if you go to IGotFloored.com, you're going to be able to read those reviews. I value those reviews. And sometimes, listen, not everything goes right every single time. It's impossible to be batting 1,000 when you're in business. Michael's makes it right. And you can see that in all of their reviews, the satisfaction that people have, the pleasure that they have with the final product. Michael's delivers each and every time. If you're looking for flooring, you want to shop Michael's Flooring Outlet. IGotFloored.com.
It's the greatest pop rock of the 60s and 70s. The Happy Together Tour 2023. Saturday, August 19th, the Family Arena. Starring the Turtles, Little Anthony, Gary Puckett and the Union Gang, the Vogues, the Classics 4, and the Cowsills. Tickets are on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
John Michael Montgomery. Live. The multiple Grammy, CMA, and ACM award winner. John Michael Montgomery with McBride and the Ride. Friday, October 20th at the Family Arena. Reserved seats are on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. John Michael Montgomery, live in concert.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Mark Reardon sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Maholtred Ophthalmology Associates. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. That's youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
Just talk to Andy McCarthy. If you missed that interview, rewind on the Odyssey app. Also, today's Andy Fry Show YouTube live chat poll. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? Do they benefit him? Is it a loss? Is there no effect? Let us know what you think. We will tell you those results in about an hour from right now. It is 1:52. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there. This is the Annie Fry Show.
You remember when I told you guys that if I message you guys, so on my phone, I'm an Android user, Samsung Galaxy 23. I don't know, it's the latest one, and it's huge. I'm having thumb issues. Have you experienced this?
No, my thumbs are super strong.
Prove it.
There's actually something out there called cell phone elbow.
Elbow?
Yeah. So
I might have this.
It's the
Yeah, your elbows are wet.
Yeah, my elbows are messed up.
You can maybe use some cell phone elbow.
You've always
I
seen
think it's called the ulnar nerve. It's your funny bone nerve. And when you hold your phone in your hand and you put your pinky in the spot on the bottom,
which I'm doing right now, yeah.
It'll create numbness and tingling in that side of your hand, and it's also pain in your elbow.
Come here.
Hold up your hand again. How are you holding a phone? Is your ring finger through the ring on the back?
That's not a ring finger.
I think we've discovered your problem. Yep, you can't do that. Nobody does that who has strong thumbs, which I
Shut up. What are you talking about? I'm not asking to be judged by which finger I slide through the ring.
I'm just noticing the size of Ryan's phone. Why do you even have a ring on that?
No kidding. Can you see that thing?
Go lift some weights.
It's
Do some
tiny.
push-ups or something.
No wonder you think your thumbs are so strong.
No, this is why I think I'm getting old, because I have to squint at this darn thing.
Annie would hand you...
I can't wait until you get readers. Yay, it's happening.
He's going to have the kind that magnet together.
Give me a couple extra minutes here. Once again, come here. I want you to feel how heavy my phone is. I don't know if you can lift it. Walk over here and, oops, don't read those text messages.
Oh my gosh, that's like nothing for me, though.
Shut up. It's heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Feel this, Brad. Heavy phone.
Yeah, it's incredibly
obnoxiously
heavy.
It's an S23. It's like super camera, great battery life. Had to work out in order to qualify for this phone.
You know who should carry that phone? Tyrus.
Yeah, it looked like
that is not a light phone.
This phone in Tyrus' hand would look like your phone in your hand.
Yes. Yes.
It's like tiny. Is that phone from Barbie?
See?
Anyway, like the motion of scrolling with your thumb will cause my thumb from time to time to shake. Like the muscle quivers.
Yeah, the motion. It's not the size of the phone that matters. It's the motion, the way
how you use your
you
thumb.
use it. Yeah, I use that.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
You walked me up to the doorstep, and I just walked through.
What was I even talking about?
I don't know. You were talking about your dumb phone.
Scrolling, and it was locking out. And
nope.
You're talking about how heavy your phone is and how much your thumbs hurt. Ooh. Oh, my thumbs. I'm going to do a whole segment on this.
You're going to have to, because I can't remember I can't remember where I was going with this. My total train of thought is derailed.
So you were going somewhere with it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone is impressive to me.
It's kind of frustrating. is that Ryan considers this a victory, even though it makes our job more difficult now. Like, got him off track.
So here's the deal. We had planned on stopping at 156. Why don't we just go back to that?
Because I gotta find those lives now.
Put them back. Put them back in there. I think one of them's mine.
This is awful. What is he gonna say? You know I'm gonna remember it in about 2.5 minutes.
Ethan, can you submit this one for award?
No, please don't. Just pretend it didn't happen.
Just go ahead. Just cut it just in case, though.
Where's Hannah's listening going, don't do it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
No.
He's screwing with you.
I can put his live back and we go out at 57.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about scrolling your phone and your thumb hurting.
You know how sometimes I lead us from one place to another and you never see it coming?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it coming.
That's a shame.
She's like, I got myself
because I was ready
lost.
to be impressed. because I was already like, oh, wow, your thumb hurts. That's super interesting. Where's this going?
That had nothing to do with it. That was a sidebar to the thing I hadn't gotten to yet.
It was about how Donald Trump is being mistreated.
The YouTube live chat poll at the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? Benefit, loss, no effect. What do you think, Ryan Wiggins?
I'm going to say benefit.
Really think it out.
Well,
feel this out.
Since you asked, I didn't see this question
Talk
coming.
Talk it out.
First of
Let
all,
us know what you think.
You really blindsided me with this.
That's weird. It's on the top of the paper that you're holding in your hand.
I'm guessing what's going to benefit the man.
Are we breaking in 30 seconds?
No, we're gonna.
Oh, you're cruel.
What are you doing to us, Brad?
You're just rude.
No, you guys made this bed. Now you lie in it.
No, I made this bed, and
Yeah.
he's gonna lie in it, and I will not be.
No, I'm not lying in that bed. I don't pee in your pool. Don't sleep in my toilet.
You've been in our pool, my parents' pool. Did you pee in it?
I can't say. Not on the air.
Man, that is an answer to a question.
Yeah.
Anybody who asks you, do you pee in the pool? You have to. It doesn't matter if you do or you don't. You have to be like, no, that's disgusting.
Look,
Who does that?
Look, the answer is no.
Leave it to, my dad was a fan of yours.
Here's the
His
thing.
pool.
I knew that this segment was completely blown.
Is this where I was
trying to
taking
make
it? You'll never
content.
know.
I was just sort of leaving the mystery in the air because it's like I was a writer for the show Lost or something. You gotta leave a
Earlier in
mystery.
the show, you literally said, I don't do radio.
Well,
that happened.
That's flipped, though.
You were standing
because
right
you
there.
had a point, and now I've had to carry you, which I've done pretty well.
Shut
If
up.
I do say so.
Log on to the YouTube page to see the fight in the break.
Mm-hmm. It's going down.
It's been a good one. Ethan, like I said, grab this.
We'll be right back.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-399-9407 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-399-9407. That's 800-399-9407. What do you have to lose? Call 800-399-9407. Again, 800-399-9407.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Taking his case online, I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Former President Trump, in a post on his social media site, claims special counsel Jack Smith is trying to silence him, requesting a protective order in the election interference case. Fox's Mike Emanuel.
Trump attorneys arguing in a trial about First Amendment rights. The government seeks to restrict First Amendment rights, noting President Biden has continually attacked Mr. Trump, who is this administration's primary political opponent.
Smith responding by saying the former president wants to litigate the case in the media. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has replaced his campaign manager with his gubernatorial chief of staff. The change, confirmed by Fox News Digital, is the latest in a weeks-long reload of the DeSantis campaign amid lagging poll numbers in the 2024 GOP primary race. The White House responding to testimony from families who lost loved ones in a suicide bombing in Kabul as the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan, saying President Biden will always honor the sacrifice of the 13 American service members.
But that they are proud of the people who conducted the withdrawal and that the president made the tough decision to end the 20-year war in Afghanistan because he wasn't going to send another generation of troops to fight and die in a conflict that had no end in sight. The Pentagon, a bit more delicate here, sharing condolences to the family in a statement that reads in part, "We are forever grateful for their service, sacrifice, and committed efforts during the evacuation operations."
Fox's Aisha Hasni. Ohio voters are deciding whether to make their state constitution harder to amend. A special election today that has direct bearing on a November ballot question over abortion rights comes to a close. If issue 1 passes, The threshold for voters being able to change the state constitution would rise from a simple majority to 60%. That would make it difficult for the fall proposal to succeed based on polling figures. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sunshine in control, nice temperatures, nice humidity, 85. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, a slow drop into the upper 70s for evening plans, 65 for the low. Wednesday, umbrella time, periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms. Anytime, but especially during the afternoon, 80 for the high. Wednesday night, the showers and storms should end by 10 o'clock. Thursday, all is quiet. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I talk a lot about how easy it is to make and get an appointment at Fountains Family Dentistry if you're scheduling it out like I have a couple months from now. You can get really anytime you want, open late some days, open early some days. I don't talk about how great the care is and how great the people are at Fountains Family Dentistry. I went on Patient Connect, which is a review site, just to see how they were doing. There are, 115 patient reviews at Fountains Family Dentistry, and they have 5 out of 5 stars. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to read you one right now. It says, just went to Fountains Family Dentistry today. If you're looking for a dentist, this is the place to go. Dr. Ty Parker is fantastic. The staff, Steve, Patty, and Chris, are courteous, caring, and knowledgeable. If you're looking for a place that still has great customer service, hard to find that anymore, then call for an appointment. Great people and great service. It's at fountainsfamilydentistry.com. They're in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Easy to get to from both sides of the river, especially if you're in Illinois. fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined a life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to ethoslife.com now for your free estimate. That's ETHOSlife.com. ETHOSlife.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick, and towing is free. Plus, you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
The New York Times calls BritBox the best of British telly. Stream brilliant series you can only find on BritBox. Unlock acclaimed favourites like Vera and Stonehouse, plus the upcoming original drama Archie, the story of Cary Grant. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
97.1 FM Talk.
I look forward to hearing the station all day.
Everyone is welcome. This hour of the Annie Fry Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're grateful to be with you this afternoon. The Odyssey app, it's a super handy way to follow along with 97.1, the Annie Fry Show as well, AUDACY. And I would like you, if you didn't get to hear the Andy McCarthy interview, to go back to about 127, I'm going to guess, 128, would you guess?
Yeah, right in that area.
The Odyssey app is cool because you can stream this, you can listen to this show on the Odyssey app live, or you can rewind it up to 24 hours from the time you access the app. But at about 128, Andy McCarthy, who you see as one of the go-to legal analysts that come on, there's a lot going on legally these days on Fox News. You'll book him, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
And how does he phrase it when you book him about his availability?
Pending Fox doesn't call.
Yeah. So he's on call if there's an indictment, if there's something that happens in the Hunter Biden situation, which ironically always happens right before an indictment. And then I don't think he's had to leave us, ghost us yet,
no.
But we always know that we're playing with fire there. But he comes on this show regularly now, and we're so grateful for it. But some of the ways we talked to him about the fake electors part of this whole conversation. And I think it's an interesting element that's not getting talked a lot. It's one of those things that has very, very high temperature reactions from both sides. If you talk about fake electors to somebody on the left, they're enraged by the idea that Donald Trump would have tried to usurp the Constitution in this way. And if you say fake electors to somebody who is on the super right, they're just mad that you called them fake.
Yeah, that's correct.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
What are your thoughts on it?
You would say alternate elector slate.
Yeah. Whatever.
I looked into this in this issue in particular because of what happened in 2016, when there were, I believe it was a total of 7 unfaithful electors for Donald Trump, or they just sat it out. They didn't vote for who they were supposed to. And this case went to the Supreme Court. They got sued. Those unfaithful electors got sued. And ultimately, the Supreme Court decided unanimously.
Faithless,
unfaithful,
something
whatever
like
it is. Yeah, electors.
I don't know anything about their marriage.
I hope that this does not reflect on their marriage or as people at all. Personally speaking, I think that they're fine.
Yeah.
Politically, I disagree with them. They took this case to the Supreme Court, unanimous decision, 9-0, that they would be fined. That you can't do that, but that the punishment was a fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now fast forward to 2020, and you're talking about a criminal investigation into the same type of thing. for having alternate slates of electors, that's a double standard. And there's already a standard, like a clear legal standard set, that if these people they didn't actually become unfaithful electors, so they actually did less than the unfaithful electors did, but just suggesting the idea that the legislature could choose because of the independent legislature theory. And these are all legal matters. Like this isn't criminal stuff. This is stuff that is being tested because there was legal gray area. And every time it happens, then usually it gets decided by courts, ultimately a lot of times the Supreme Court in these cases because it's constitutional. But that's how you decide these things, is you work your way through the legal process and it's decided.
You know, that's one of the things that in my conversation with Andy McCarthy, I've got two things that I wanted to bounce off of him and just get his reaction. Because I have these, I sit here just like anybody else does, just like you do while you're listening to the show. You have thoughts, you have questions, and you have zero legal qualification except for your time spent on Twixter. And so I have these thoughts and I want to bounce them off of somebody. Who better than Andy McCarthy? The way that, like, the idea of January 6th was always a big date because it was when the election became officially certified. Am I right?
Yeah.
If the riot would not have happened, we would have seen a constitutional conversation play out in real time that I think would have been so healthy for the country.
Heck yeah, it would have.
And also, for the nerds in the room, of which I raise my hand and identify as one, incredibly fascinating about how deep and well thought out our Constitution actually is. That the anticipation of something like this would have been predicated in the thoughts and minds of founding fathers. That there was a system that was set up to absorb this. And, you know, I've said this from the moment that it was being put out there. I don't agree that Donald Trump had the right to do what he was saying he had to do. There is an electoral college. Your vote specifically does not elect the president. It is a state legislature. It's just so, like, federalism is so important to understand in the way we elect federally the people who represent us in our collective government. And there are incredible most people don't even understand that, oh, he got the popular vote. How could he not have won? He won by this many. Like, the popular vote doesn't mean nothing. It's not how we elect our leaders. And so there's a nuance, but this is graduate level, so far into the Constitution stuff that should it have been discussed out in the open, I think we would have still come to the place where Joe Biden was going to be the president of the United States. And I've never advocated for or said anything different. I think that Democrats took advantage of a crisis in COVID to loosen as much as they possibly could, everywhere they could, the laws that surround how we vote. I believe that happened. I think Republicans need to tighten all of those loose ends in coming elections. They're not going to be able to do it until they win the elections the way that we have laws right now. The idea of a stolen election means different things to different people. And when the riot happened on January 6th, all of that constitutional stuff flew out the window. Immediately gone forever. You will never reclaim what could have happened in that moment, which is where I don't really look at January 6th like, if Donald Trump were to instigate something to happen there, I don't think that is the thing that he would have wanted to happen for the outcome to occur that he was seeking to occur.
Yeah, he wanted real, well, as far as I know, real legal objections to happen. I know Ted Cruz was going to do one of them.
Right.
I think Josh Hawley was going to do another one.
Like, if you remember, you need to have an objection from a member of the House of Representatives and then a senator
like
to
a
do
co-sponsor, basically.
Yeah,
right.
And I remember whenever Donald Trump when they were certifying his vote, they had a ton of members of the Democrat Party, House members, objecting, but nobody had a senator.
Right. And so it's not as if there was no precedent for objecting, because that is a constitutional process. And again, these things, they find legal solutions when there's gray area. There was a little bit of gray area with what is the vice president's responsibility. And everybody was really focused on that. Nobody knew there was a gray area until they started looking at the legal wording of what he's supposed to do. And everybody was referring back to, I think it was Nixon in 1960 concerning Hawaii. And the VP at the time was saying that Hawaii had some problems and that he sort of called out that Hawaii had to solve their electoral issues. And people were saying, well, that means that Pence has the authority to do that. But all that stuff was not solved that day because of what happened on January 6th. And it could have played out in the same way as everything else that's kind of gray plays out.
And Donald Trump reacted the way Donald Trump reacted. Donald Trump's way.
Yeah.
Not the way that I would have liked to have seen him react in that moment. Not the way that would have made a lot of other people feel comfortable. The dude was angry. He felt like he was cheated. I think that he believed at the time that he was cheated. I don't buy into the Donald Trump thought process on the election. And I think that there are a lot of people who are divided on that on the Republican side of the aisle. But I don't need to subscribe to the Donald Trump understanding of the election to not look at the entire body of work that predates the 2016 election to know that the Democrats were working overtime to make it unwinnable for Donald Trump to achieve the presidency through any means necessary. Lying about Russia collusion, funding the Steele dossier, working in a way that would undermine his every single move, and as much as they could preload the system and the process so that you could never, ever look at that man and make a judgment with your own eyes and your own ears and say, this guy is good for the country or this guy is bad for the country. They tainted the entire process for Americans to consume what he had to offer them as their president with lies. And in that respect, they've been working hard on stealing Trump voters from the voters, the right to put the man or woman into office that they chose. They tried to taint that entire process because they wanted the power. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Hillary Clinton was not going to cede her rightful moment to become the president of the United States. And no, it's not a monarchy. And somehow or another, all the stars aligned and Donald Trump still won. It was not a landslide. Donald Trump did not kick Hillary Clinton's butt. But the fact that he did win, I mean, even on numbers, even if every single vote in the 2016 election, every single vote was above board and legit. Maybe it was. The fact that Donald Trump was able to achieve victory over Hillary Clinton against all odds is mind-blowing. And they got smarter in 2020. COVID became a political gift to the Democrats, and they used it to their advantage. And I think that helped Joe Biden become the president of the United States. I think all of that information needs to be considered when we're looking into 2024. I understand why Donald Trump is angry about 2020, but I'd really like him to win the 2024 election on behalf of the American people instead of lose the 2024 election trying to prove that he won the 2020 election. I got no time for it.
Yeah, I mean, when you have, in 2020 especially, when you have a rolling death count on most of your major media outlets, talking about Twitter, and they're going, well, this man is causing this many deaths now. I mean, that's the kind of stuff they were doing. And then to censor any speech or problematic stories that came out about Joe Biden ahead of time, too. I mean, they were running cover on every single angle. We know now, Elise Stefanik was talking about it in Congress, how the Democrat or the FBI was paying Twitter and was actually moving employees back and forth with Twitter to censor stories they didn't like from the news. I mean, all of that is a fact now, and a lot of America doesn't even know it.
You guys want to know what I forgot to talk, what I was talking about at the end of the last segment?
I kind of like the way that one went. I don't know.
It's incredibly disappointing.
Well, okay, now, then let's hear it.
I was trying to wrap up a very short segment that we were going to have going into the 2 o'clock hour, and I started talking about my phone. And I started talking about how heavy my phone is. And then I started talking about how the usage of my thumb causes, if I overuse my thumb, will cause my thumb to like quiver and shake sometimes if I'm trying to use it. And I'm like, okay, I need to put the phone down.
Yeah, that's called opposable digit cramping.
Easy for you to say.
Clearly, I didn't just make that up either.
ODC?
Yeah, ODC.
When I go to text people, if I want to swipe backwards, like go to the last screen I'm on, can you swipe on your phone from the outside of your phone in to like go quotes back?
Yeah, because mine's so small.
What are we talking about? Your phone?
I shouldn't have. My phone is kind of small.
Okay. Well, when I do that, when I go backwards, my thumb hits on my keyboard just at the top row of letters on the keyboard, and it always auto texts poo. That was the story.
Oh man, that would have been a great segment.
That would have been a great segment. Good thing we didn't do it.
Oh gosh.
If I've ever accidentally sent you the word poo, you know what happened. Or maybe it's intentional. You'll never know. Let's take a quick break. I need your votes in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? A benefit, a loss, or no effect? We'll answer that question here in studio and feature some of your comments when we wrap up the show right here at the end at about the 2:50 timestamp. Stick around. More Annie Fry Show in just a few minutes.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
You can still participate in Ruler Foods by hydrating your heroes. Ryan Wiggins is going to kind of try to distract me during this live here, so you should probably tune into the YouTube live and watch how much I'm not distracted. Hydrating your heroes is important, helping the people who are in your local community, be it your policemen, your firefighters, your first responders. These are the people who work hard to take care of you, and they are out there in the ridiculous heat trying to make sure that you are safe and sound in your communities. Ruler Foods wants to acknowledge that. And through August 12th, you can participate in an opportunity to hydrate your heroes by visiting Ruler Foods and dropping off some of that hydration. You do not have to you put stuff on my head. You're going to spill stuff. You can't. Is that something you can see? This is hydration. See, he's ready to participate right now by putting his hydration on the top of my head.
I'm just here to serve.
Yeah, just here to help. Absolutely. That's all I ever think about when I see you, Wiggins. Hydrating your heroes at Ruler Foods is easy. If you don't have to buy stuff there in order to participate, but you can because they have great sales right now. You can even get some stuff for yourself when you stop by. Kroger 24-pack of water, $2.99 a pack. Powerade 28 ounces, 10 for $10. Body Armor 16 ounces, 10 for $10. Powerade 8 ounces to 20 ounces, $5.99. And Splash Blast flavored water, 2 for $5. Participate in something that is local. You shop at your local Ruler Foods, and those donations are going to go to your local heroes. Hydrate your heroes with Ruler Foods this summer. Find the one closest to you at rulerfoods.com.
Hey, Rob Bradford here. I have set out on a mission with my good friends at FanDuel to prove what I have known for some time. Baseball isn't boring. Now I have a daily podcast to prove it with some of the most notable people in the baseball world, screaming baseball isn't boring from the mountaintops, or at least agreeing to come on our show. Players, managers, GMs, and yes, even the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred. It has been a constant wave of baseball's most powerful voices. So join the revolution. Subscribe and soak in Baseball Isn't Boring. Listen on your Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll be glad you did.
Back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya, and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerberg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com.
You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. When you're injured and in your darkest hour, Onder Law is not only on your side, we're by your side.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
Together Credit Union is the official banking partner of St. Louis City SC, which means Together Credit Union is the only place to find the official City SC debit card, which comes with special perks. There's no cost for the City SC debit card, so don't wait and sign up today online at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Odyssey is your home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today to listen to 97.1 FM Talk, even when you don't have a radio. Always streaming at 971talk.com. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show.
Guns N' Roses, right?
Yep, Guns N' Roses, Panama.
This is my favorite Guns N' Roses song.
I was going to say Guns N' Roses is Ecuador.
I was going to do the same thing. Yeah, this is Honduras by Guns N' Roses.
Is that a joke?
Yeah. It was a really good one. Yeah. See? Delayed reaction, but you got it.
I knew it was funny. That's a funny joke.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Because Brad and I told it together because we teamed up on that joke.
Actually, what happened was I told that joke, and then you was like, I was going to say that.
Technically true. Although I thought Honduras was a little funnier than Ecuador. Is that wrong?
Well, that's really offensive to Honduras.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
tell
Ecuador.
Guns N' Roses that. They wrote the song.
10 ways to impress people within seconds of meeting them.
I probably know 10 of these.
So the first time that you're meeting somebody, Ryan, you go up to them and you are meeting somebody, maybe somewhat impressive for the first time. What is important for you to convey that very first impression? How do you go about that process?
Well, first of all, you don't walk right up to somebody that important. You let them walk by you, and you just sort of give an up nod. You're saying what you're saying in that
And then
is
that guy goes, "What's wrong with him?"
then that guy or girl
That could
says, "Oh man, that guy kind of everybody else is seeking my attention, but that guy doesn't need it. I want to know him." That's step number 1, Annie.
You literally pretended to know how to play the guitar to get your wife to date you.
And guess what? She married me.
She did.
So I think that was a bad example on your part.
I'm telling you that it's the opposite of what you're saying right now. What you're saying right now is you meet somebody important and great, and what you do is be very subtle.
You do different things with different people.
And you're like,
my wife was a nobody at the time.
No. Here's the woman of my dreams. Does anybody have a guitar?
Listen,
Ryan, you don't play the guitar.
She might be listening right now, and she hasn't figured that out yet.
Yeah, right. I think she's smarter than you give her credit for.
I play stuff like that. I'll play her a song like Guns N' Roses Honduras. And I'll say, "Did you know that that's me on guitar?" And she'll say, "No."
Neither
and
did
then
I.
we'll go on about our day. So she clearly hasn't figured it out yet.
Do you still try to impress her?
Depends. I would say, yeah. Does Jared try to impress you?
Of course.
Yeah, I think so. Brad, do you try to impress Terry? Or does Terry try to impress you? Because there are times when I just sort of sit there and I'm like, "Katie, do something."
Hold on a second.
And I'm like, put on a show, honey.
I'm bored.
Do something
Impress me.
impressive. This sucked.
I'm a little bored. Why don't you do something?
What do you do to try to impress your wife?
I don't know. I might do, like, for instance, I might sit there in the
I'm
living
so
room
nervous right now.
and wait for her to walk by. Instead of trying to seek her attention, I just give her one of those little up nods. That lets her know, yeah, I'm interested, but I'm not necessarily seeking it out. It's playing hard to get, just like we do with celebrities, for instance, like I said about 3 minutes ago.
And how does your wife respond to that?
She usually looks over like, "Oh man," usually he's like wants my attention, but in this instance, he's acting like he doesn't. So maybe I should go put on a show for him.
That does not happen. Brad, do you still?
I'm just giving you a little peek behind the curtain
I don't
of
know.
our household.
I don't know that is actually behind the curtain in your house. Do you still try to impress your wife?
Every time I try to impress her, it's not impressive. So I find that like whenever she's impressed by something that I do, it's whenever I'm doing something completely different, not even thinking about trying to
What do you
impress
try
her.
to do to impress her?
I don't know, make a muscle or something, flex, that sort of thing.
Make a muscle.
Yeah, it happens.
Make a muscle.
Like, what do you think?
Inadvertent flex.
You go, oh.
Or you just stand in a position that's like, "Dang, I probably look pretty good in this position. I might hold this."
Is that you slouched on the couch, nodding your head back?
Yeah.
Maybe drop something in
I
front
know,
of her.
Undoing the belt
know
a bit.
for a fact this looks good right now.
Just drop something on the ground in front of her and slowly pick it up.
Yep. I've done that. Whoops, I dropped a nickel. Let me see if I can get it.
Hands to yourself.
No phones out. You know what's funny is that if I do that, I don't know that I'm doing it. And she'll make fun of me. She's like, "You're trying to impress me right now." I'm like, "Dang it, I think I am." And then other times, you're right. I'll do something and she'll go, "Dang, that was super impressive." And I'm like, "Oh man, I wish I would have known. I would have played it up a little bit." Last time that happened was we were playing.
Yeah, there's still time to not talk about it.
We were playing a game.
It's okay.
It was.
You are in this zone where you're going to say anything because you think it's great radio that is about your marriage. So I just want to give you the opportunity to say, I forgot what I was going to say.
Shoot, what was I talking about?
Why are you looking
Oh, yeah,
outside?
I remembered. We were at Pier Marquette, and they have in the lodge a giant chessboard. And somebody that I think we were there for a wedding, and somebody I didn't quite know, but it was also in the wedding, challenged me to a chess game just because we were waiting. We were
Do you
just
know how to
sitting
play
there
chess?
waiting. Yes. And apparently, just knowing how to play chess was impressive to my wife.
I believe that.
Because I played, I think I won, but I don't think it was like, oh man, he was a chess master. It was just that I knew how to play, and I was walking around carrying these giant chess pieces. I thought, oh, you were impressed because I was picking up the chess pieces. No, she's like, no, I was impressed that you knew how to play it.
You knew where to put them down.
Does she know how to play chess?
I've taught her since because she was so impressed that I'm like, well, let's use this.
It's possible you could have been making up the whole thing with confidence, and she'd have bought it.
Yeah. And I've taught my kids, and really the only people that we've played is within our family, so I have no test of the rules. It could be made up.
I think that it's funny to think about the things when I'm going to do the math while you guys tell me how long you've been married for.
16 years.
And
as of last
Brad,
week.
15.
And what year did you get married?
What was that, 08? I'm bad at math.
16 years. 07?
07. You were 07 too.
Yeah.
I remember that.
No,
Are you impressed?
Yeah, kind of. So once you get married and you're past the honeymoon phase or whatever, and then you're in the, we have to make it through the day. We should try to make it through together. You do get to the point where you will find the weirdest things to continue to be impressive. And it's usually like, oh my gosh, you cleaned the bedroom. Thank you so much. This is really impressive. Or
that's the kind of impressive stuff that I don't want to do, though. Cleaning.
Yeah, but when I'm saying you're doing this, it would be for her, not because of what you want to do.
I'm looking for that middle ground where she is impressed, but I enjoy doing it.
Oh man, it's funny. It's funny to even consider the dating phase, especially if you add kids in there, just from a time constraint standpoint. But it is still kind of funny, and you just find you get to the point where you have your own brand of humor and comedy, and certain things are just.
I can't figure out what my wife laughs at because I do goofy stuff all the time, and I'll be like, "Oh, this is going to be funny." And the kids will laugh at anything because if I'm just being goofy, they'll laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But she is so particular about stuff that she'll laugh at. But then once I get her, I've got her.
Yeah.
And then I will drive that home and I will use it for years. There is a character that I was doing at some point called Carcass Clown.
You've talked about this
Yeah,
before.
that she just was like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just put that one in the repertoire then.
How many other characters are hanging out in there?
I don't remember. I think I had one called French Dandy.
What?
Yeah. I just walk around the house and go, I'm a French dandy. You know what? The Pierre Marquette thing was fine. I shouldn't have said that one. Let's rewind on the Odyssey app. And
let's not.
Actually, that would make you listen to it again.
Let's
rewind.
Why don't you fast forward?
Then fast forward past this part.
That's a good idea.
Simple ways to impress people within seconds of meeting them. Number one, offer a warm greeting. I think it is important to be willing to say and greet and initiate the hello.
Yeah, I do that to you guys every day. I walk in and I go, hey, eye contact.
Literally
Hi.
the week before I went on vacation, I was standing right here and you walked in to log into the computer or something and you didn't know
I didn't know you were there.
You didn't know I was standing here.
No.
And I might have taken 2 or 3 years off your life.
Yeah, because you were standing there and you go, hi. And I think I went, oh!
You did. It seemed to really make a difference.
That was a warm greeting. Thank you.
Number two, I'm encouraged by this because there was a time where we were saying this was going to go away forever. Make sure to shake hands.
Yes. And if you're a man, at least a somewhat firm handshake.
This sounds like a sexist comment.
No, it's not. You have to have, Brad, am I right? You have to have at least a somewhat firm handshake, but not too firm because then it shows
you're not trying to break their hand.
Exactly.
Like Donald Trump's handshake where he shakes people back and forth.
He pulls people in almost hugs them.
I think for women, it's almost even more important to have a firm handshake.
Really?
Oh, of course.
But there's a line, though, if you do it too much, you can tell that this person's overcompensating.
But that's
am I right?
no different for men or women.
That's no different?
No. Having a firm, confident handshake for a woman will make a bigger, bolder statement than a man. You expect it from a man. I would venture to say that you would notice it more from a woman.
Yeah, that's probably true. But when you shake a man's hand who has nothing, it is a little off-putting. You're like, oh. Because my dad at 9 or 10 years old, I remember standing in the front yard with somebody else, and he goes, shake that man's hand. And I did, and he goes, now do it with me, and I'll show you how to do it. He taught me how to shake a hand.
That's good. Maintain eye contact. Eye contact is a big one, and I think that we have a generation Probably the Gen Z generation that spent a lot of time on Zoom and at home with masks on. Eye contact. Here's the thing. If you're a kid or if you're of that age, if you're, I would say in your early 20s or earlier, then you are going to have a huge advantage if you learn these things. Because the majority of your generation is not even going to see them as key. But eye contact is a big one. Number 4, smile. It's your biggest asset.
Yeah, smile more, Annie.
I hate you. I'm smiling. 5, pay attention. If there's anything worse than speaking to someone who's more interested in what's happening behind you, or even worse than that, checking their phone. I think that the phone checking thing, if you're in new company, it's just best to like put the phone away and to not be distracted by it. Like we have to get back to making the determination that the person in front of me is the most important person right now. That is not the way we live our lifestyles.
It also, I think, shows some immaturity if you're younger and you enter a social situation and you're just on your phone. You can tell that person is not engaged socially in that moment and also probably a little bit socially uncomfortable, which indicates that they're just not quite to that level of being social that they need to be.
But and it's a very much so, I think, lead by example thing. I have to try to remind myself of that when I'm around my kids.
Oh, me too.
For sure. Use their name. This is important for me to do out loud when I learn someone's name so that I remember it, because I am not good with names. If immediately I'm like, oh, hi, Ryan, nice to meet you. If I say it out loud, I will be... For me, hearing myself say something out loud, like a phone number. If I read a phone number, if I say it out loud, I will remember it way more because I've heard it than if I read it.
Is that a radio thing? Because I'm the same way, but my wife is not.
I think
she can see it and remember it.
Yeah,
better.
there's just visual learners, auditory.
I'm very auditory.
Yeah, I am too. Be calm. Are you someone who suffers from nerves when meeting people for the first time? I think that's just something that takes practice.
Yeah.
And time. Dress appropriately. We've talked about this before, but going back to what Gen Z has experienced in athleisure has made huge inroads in the workplace. I wouldn't be so sad if athleisure went away from the workplace.
I won't either. And I gotten to the point after COVID that I won't even wear a sports bra at all.
It's freeing, isn't it?
It's great.
You
got any more?
Use your manners.
Okay.
Next up on the list is simple ways to impress people is using manners. If someone is introducing you to their friend, it's always polite to thank the person for making the introduction. I feel like the manners that I was grown up being taught about from my grandma, who was the one from Australia, was like super, like we had tea when I was growing up. I knew how to I knew how to stir. The spoon is not a shovel.
That's a different type of manners, though, isn't it?
Yes. And it wasn't excessive. I'm very grateful that I was raised in that way. She lived next door, so I spent a ton of time with her. But I always remember people complimenting myself and my siblings because we were very polite. But it was never optional for us to be polite. I have forwarded that on with my husband, with my kids, and people compliment them on the same thing. It's like being polite and able to be mannered.
I just had this issue today. I know we're long, but I dropped my kids off at a babysitter today because my wife is out of town right now. And I was struggling with whether to tell them to call them Mr. and Mrs. Croxford or just refer to them as yes, sir, Andy. You know, I didn't know what's normal now because I thought they might feel weird if they were called Mr. and Mrs.
I think that it is appropriate to instruct children to refer to Mr. and Mrs. and then let the adults say, that's okay, you can call me Annie. Because I coach students in volleyball and basketball, and my husband coaches as well, and we go by our names. I do not want to be called Mrs. Fry, ever.
I kind of like Mr. Wiggins.
He's your dad.
Yeah, he is my dad. That's my dad's name. You call me Ryan.
Last one is be punctual, and that is also something I think that we could get back to doing, is caring more about punctuality. All of these things put you in a position to care more, or at least at minimum as much about the other people in the situation than yourself. And that would be a very good place for us to get back to societally. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get the wrap up on the YouTube live chat poll. Need your votes and your comments. We'll get them featured here when we return. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? A little Guns N' Roses to take you out. Benefit, loss, no effect. Go vote. We'll be right back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
It's one of the easiest things I get to do is talk about Andrea's steak sauce because I've been using it for years. I was just talking about Mr. Wiggins. My dad introduced me to Andrea's steak sauce because they're family friends, and we've been just using Andrea's on everything for so long that it is a staple in our household. I want you to try Andrea's at the restaurant at some point, too. Definitely get the sauce. They have a barbecue sauce. They have a salad dressing as well. You can pick them up at Schnucks and Dierbergs or at Andreas.com. While you're there, though, at Andreas.com, check out where the restaurant is, Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois. If you've never been there, it is world famous, and that's the one. I mean, that is the restaurant. It's very unique. It's not like in a mini mall or something. It is tucked away. Actually, I'm going to read from their website. It says right here, tucked away off the grassy knoll, Andrea's Steakhouse welcomes you as a guest in the family home. That is very accurate because if you've never been to Andrea's, it is an experience. The food is unbelievable. The food is the main attraction, of course, and Andrea's steak sauce makes it all. But the experience of going to Andrea's is something special. So next time you have an occasion or you just want to make up an occasion, visit them. They're in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois, and you can see them online. You can see actually kind of what the menu is and what the restaurant looks like, too, if you've never been, at Andreas.com.
Tired of constantly caring for a home exterior that doesn't look as good as it should? You deserve beautiful, low-maintenance James Hardie fiber cement siding. James Hardie gives you gorgeous colors, stands up to Missouri's harsh weather, and lasts decades. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we're experts in installing America's #1 siding. And our lifetime workmanship warranty gives you peace of mind. Get a lovely, lasting home exterior with Lakeside Renovation and Design. Request a free consultation at 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000. And love your home all over again.
You're hearing a commercial I set out for, and I wish I would have done this years ago, because I mean the trade, we're so done in trades because we're just getting brutalized by the working class. But if you want great service as quick as we can get to you, like we're busy, and reasonable prices, if you call me, I would not waste your time. You will get equipment that will heat and cool your home. If you're looking for a furnace or air conditioner, it broke down, or you just need service, call me. Bart Inman. Again, it's Bart Inman, and with one really easy number, Missouri and Illinois. There's only one number for Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600, or the internet. Well, that was a large breath. The internet. BartInman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
You still have a minute or two to get your vote in before we reveal the results of today's YouTube live chat poll, the Annie Fry Show YouTube page. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? Benefit, loss, or no effect? Let us know, and then we will let you know here in a couple minutes. It is 2:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Phil Holloway is back with us.
If there is a trial, they have to prove that not only was the election a clean election, but that Donald Trump subjectively knew in his mind that it was a clean election.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
was scared of dentists and the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. All my friends are turning green. Yeah, the magician's a sister.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Oh, and they come unstuck. Lady, running down to the riptide.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being here with us. We had a great conversation with Andy McCarthy at about 1:28. You can rewind on the Odyssey app and skip over which part? Basically everything after that till now.
Yeah, it's been a complete waste.
Just a
Like
blown
Andy McCarthy
show.
was great,
And
a
then-
lot of good information, and then we started talking about other
If he
things.
never comes on the show again, we'll know that he kept listening.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, if he continued to listen to the show, we
I
will
get
never
an
have
email from him. I kept listening. Oh, no.
Oh, terrible. That's absolutely destructive. We want to encourage you to go on the Odyssey app and listen to his conversation. We talked about the fake air quotes or whatever, electors, whatever you want to call them.
Alternate slate.
Alternate slate, yes, for all the people. And we talked about the J6 indictment for Donald Trump, number 3, and what kind of legal issues he might be facing along with political issues and how they are being handled. It was a really interesting conversation. I encourage you to go check it out. The YouTube live chat poll today, I'm going to ask you guys first, at the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? On Donald Trump's popularity, is it a benefit on the whole, a loss on the whole, or no effect whatsoever? Brad, I asked you this earlier, so you can recap here real quick what you think.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have any effect. I don't think it'll have any effect on his popularity. I think people have made up their mind whether or not they like him or they dislike him. It may like widen the gap between the people that love him and the people that hate him, but I don't think it'll make people like him anymore.
What do you think, Ryan?
I like what Brad said in that segment. I heard him say that. He goes, well, if it gets up to 7 or 8 indictments.
Yeah, it's like just
what?
set the bar.
Yeah, right. I'm going to say that it's a benefit with him in the primary with GOP voters. It's a net loss for him overall, and therefore I'm going to say no effect total.
So I think that you said no effect.
Yeah.
And you said no effect. 2 no effects. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? I think that at the end of the day, it's a loss if we're talking all the way to the general election. I think that the indictments hurt him because there are people who have been pre-programmed to believe that all of these types of things, regardless of whether he's acquitted or whatever, he's in the court of public opinion guilty to many. And that is insurmountable in a lot of ways. I'm going to read a couple comments here. Michael says to the poll, helpful, he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose any supporters. I think Michael says that in jest, and your comments here are welcome. Carlo says, I said helpful. It shows that the establishment finds Trump is a threat and people are tired of the establishment. Vicky says, I chose a benefit because I'm not a Trump fan and I'm getting closer to voting for him since they won't stop coming at him. Had he not run for president again, none of this would be happening. And that's a statement coming from Vicky because she's been pretty outspoken against him. Edward says, helpful in the primary, hurtful in the general. I agree with that, Edward. Jaded said, I voted loss. At this point, I feel like it's 2 kids fighting in the back seat and you just want to throw your hands up in exasperation. I have no idea what you're talking about. Ron says, I say indictments are a loss. To those that love or hate him, the additional indictments make no difference to independents in the general election. I fear it will hurt him, my 2 cents. Scooter says, went with loss in the poll. I have confidence that the GOP will finally come to its senses rather than reject law and order. Trump is innocent until proven guilty and is still subject to accountability. Dirk says, personally, it has no impact, but I voted loss as I think overall most people will look at it as a detriment. If I go to the results right now on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, our live broadcasted video every day. We do this every day. You can watch and comment live. We love having you there and reading your comments. Doesn't matter where you come from in the political spectrum. We have a whole wide variety of people who comment there, and as long as you keep it respectful, we welcome everybody. At the end of the day, what effect do the Trump indictments have on his popularity? 15% say loss, 28% say no effect, and 57% say benefit. It's pretty resounding results.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So we shall see. And once we get to 7 indictments, we're going to ask that poll question again so Brad can change his answer.
Yeah. But actually, that poll question will just be, was Brad right?
Was Brad correct?
That's
We appreciate you being here with us. A reminder, you can subscribe to the Annie Fry YouTube channel. You can download and follow 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, and listen to the Annie Fry Show live here, and then keep it right there on the Odyssey app to listen to the Mark Reardon Show, which is coming up next right here on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll be back tomorrow, but Mark Reardon is up next.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do